Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. I'm going to say welcome back to myself. The holidays is behind us, and we coming back on a holiday, Martin Luther King birthday. Shout outs to him and the King family. He is what I call a real activist. People like him, Medgar Evers, um, what's his name? Damn, I can't even think of Malcolm X. I'm sorry, I fumbled on that one. Malcolm X and countless others who did real activism in their day and really can't be compared to none. I know today's activism, a lot of people like to think they just as good. It's just different. It's different, but it's definitely not better. I don't like to compare. You gotta take things as they go. But it's some activism that went on in the recent years that I really wasn't feeling at all. I didn't see that it got us nowhere or what it was going to do. It had some success and all, but we got to really thank God for people like Martin Luther King. Now, he was a complicated man, and he did a lot of things, good and bad, more good than bad. I mean, he wasn't loyal to his wife. I mean, everybody know them stories, but that doesn't sum up who the man was. So shout out to Martin Luther King and glad to be celebrating him in America because he really was a trendsetter. And a lot of things that he hoped for and wished for, we do see today. We do see that today. And we can't say we don't. Um, but like I said, activism back then, he was necessary for the cause. And it might sound crazy. Even I feel sometimes like we could do eye for eye, but he wasn't about that. Sometimes you got to rise above. He was what Michelle Obama probably was referring to when she said, "When they go low, we go high." He exemplifies that statement. So shout out to Martin Luther King's birthday. He was for all Americans. I love it when I see all Americans from different cultures, different sets, different races getting along. And remember that races and the distinguishing between races, that is an American thing. That is not a God thing because we all belong to one race, and that's the human race. And that's how I choose to look at it. Yes, we can make distinctions and differences. You'll hear me say, well, for black people in this country, this, that, and the other. Or you can hear somebody say for white people in this country, this, that, and the other, and all the other races. But that don't mean, and it never ever means that we are not all part of the same race. We're part of the human race. And something as small as it's small but major. Melanin does count. But something as small as that to distinguish between a person, whether they better or not, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I live for the day when that is not even an afterthought. So shout outs to Martin Luther King, um, and all of America because we brought the world Martin Luther King. So I wanted to say that, but y'all see my headline. I said Errol Spence is starting to speak now, and he doing what he always have done, and it wasn't good. The whole 5 years, a lot of it is what he was doing, his team was doing, and everything. And it's like, come on, Shawty, like this is why we had that marination. This is why we went through what we went through. That whole 5 years is from, in my opinion, him stoking the flames. Because if y'all remember correctly, Terrence Crawford wasn't much of a talker. He didn't say much back then, and that's something we kind of like begged for him to change about himself. But he really wasn't a person that talked and said much and stoked the flames. But leave it to Errol Spence to start that mess up again. I mean, I look at it like this: you lost, bro. You lost. So you just gotta roll with that. If you say you won't go never do an excuse anyway, I'll get into that when we start the show. But let me, y'all know first. Let's hit this intro, and I'll be right back with after the intro. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host TDT, and you can refer to me as Miss T. It's been a minute. I know the holidays was on us, and I sure took my break, and it was fun too. Got a lot accomplished, but yeah, I had to wind down and regroup. And I'm in my last 6 months before the big wedding, and so it's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of moving parts. So I had to take my time. I have to take breaks because so much I'm doing. I'm moving to another state, getting ready for my daughter's big wedding, and all this happening in about 6 months. So, woosah. Anywho, I'm back. Y'all know at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we advocate drinking water around here. I'ma keep on saying that. And I like the fact that some people pick up on that and keep going. You never know the benefits of your health that's gonna come with you drinking water. So even though this sounds redundant, I'ma keep saying it because that's how people learn. They learn from repetitive thinking. You know what I'm saying? Repetitive stuff being said. So we advocate that the average person should drink about 100 ounces. You can actually do a gallon, that's 128 ounces. But a lot of people don't drink a lot of water because, they don't feel that they that athletic or they, do enough activity to warrant that. But let me tell you, if your body is approximately 70 to 75% water, you should be drinking a lot of water. And here, I used to say from 2023, but I'm going to say from 2024 now and forward, nobody should have a problem with dehydration. And when you have problems with your health, they're lingering problems. I don't care how small the problem is, they come back up when you chronically misuse your body. And not putting enough water in your body is chronically misusing your body. So we say drink the water, but we know a lot of people don't like to drink water. So we say start off at least at this level, at least twice a day. First thing in the morning before your toes hit the ground, have you 8 ounces of water sitting on your nightstand, ready to go. Think of your body as an engine and the water is the lube. Drink it up, drink it up, drink it up. The second time is at night when you get out the shower, you about to get in the bed. You probably read something in the magazine or an article somewhere or read in your books, your favorite books, or look at a program on TV. You don't get in the bed and go right to sleep. That's when you chug a lug your other 8 ounces of water because your body is going to be doing a whole lot of work at night. Little do you know. And it's amazing too because you don't feel it. You sleep right through it. There's a lot of reads going on. Revamping, rebooting, redirecting, reconfiguring, recreating. I can go on, and that takes a lot of work. Reconverting, all kinds of things. And because of this work, the average person burns between 900 to 1,000 calories at night. Every night, you don't even get that in the gym. And so drink your water. For those of you who got New Year's resolutions to hit the gym more or become more active, definitely be carrying your water with you and drink plenty of water. Let no time in 2024 see that you dehydrated. For those of you who like to lose weight, guess what? You can't get it without the water. And that's the funny thing. I do have a program called Finding the Health in You, where I help people put together menus to help them get healthier. And a healthy body is a fit body. Let me say that again for the people in the back. A healthy body is a fit body. But I don't care whether you do my program or somebody else's program or get with a personal trainer or do whatever program it is out there that you can roll with that's conducive to your lifestyle. If you don't include water, it ain't going to work. Let me repeat that. It ain't going to work unless you include water in your regimen. So drink your water. Drink your water and lose some weight. Don't be hesitant with the water. Get it out your head about this water weight. Don't even be trying to lose no water weight. Get off them water pills if you can. I know they prescribe them with some people for high blood pressure, but My opinion, and just my opinion. I can't tell you what to do, and never go against what your doctor say. But hey, you don't really need water pills, especially the older you are, because that affects your electrolytes, and you don't ever want to do that, because you start dropping electrolytes, you in heart attack city, stroke city, all kinds of stuff. And the older you get, you lose things like magnesium and potassium. It ain't as simple as let me eat something that got all that in it. Let me eat bananas. You'll get tired of bananas. So drink your water, keep your electrolytes going, and be active. Be active. But more importantly, drink your water. You will lose a lot just doing that. Ask out money. And let me give a shout out to some of the people in the building. Our money, I see you in the building. What's popping, King? He said, "What's up, Miss T?" Our money say, "Happy birthday to MLK Jr. Indeed, happy Martin Luther King Day, America. That's our own Martin Luther King. He belongs to everybody." White, black, yellow, or purple. He belongs to everybody. Andrew Charles is in the building. What's poppin', King? He said, "Salute, Miss T. I see you, Mark Nash." He said, "What up, fam?" What's poppin', King? Al Money and Mark Nash speaking to each other. Al said, "Glad you back, Miss T. I was thinking." Yeah, I had to take a break. Sometimes you just take a break, you know what I'm saying? Look at my boy ATL Unanimous Boxing Sports is in the building. He said, "Is somebody said Big Fish name. I'm here, Queen. Salute." Smash the likes on the way in the room. Yes, please. Get me up to them Shannon Sharp numbers. I know all y'all seen that catfish. Cat Williams. Look, I'm fumbling over my words. Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp. Boy, that was a doozy. That was a doozy. But I have been thinking about that, about what's his name, Steve Harvey, for a long time. Now I do like Cedric the Entertainer. When he comes on, I like him. Is a lot of people like Dave Chappelle, but I'm not against Dave Chappelle. He's funny in movies to me more so than stand up. But I'm not gonna argue what the pros say. They say he the best out there, and then but you know what? I've always said this and had arguments with people with this. Kevin Hart is not funny. I don't care what y'all say. Kevin Hart is not funny. If y'all think Kevin Hart funny, y'all can rep him on here, but I don't think he that funny. So that interview was cool. They up to what, 45, 50 million now? Whew. Talking about a YouTube viewership. Wow. Mark Nash has smashed the likes on the way in. Our money, 231 piece, bro. ATL, what up? ATL said, "What up, Mark?" Who else? Charles and Charles, what up? Miss T, what up? Mark Nash. ATL, salute to the queen. WJ Luckett is in the building. What's popping, King? Okay, y'all knew I had to come in and say something. And in probably about an hour, you see this lovely picture. I'm getting ready for the rematch. I'm trying to disregard all the naysayers and people that's saying this or saying that, or drawing ultimate conclusions to whether or not Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence gonna get it on again. I'm trying to believe that it's gonna happen. I made a t-shirt. In about an hour it's gonna be ready on the site. I'm gonna drop the site name. You guys can go in there and order you a t-shirt. It'll come directly to you. Ask me one. If you hit this site, it'll take you there. You can get you a shirt. I got them in all colors. What it say? Keep it simple. Errol Spence, like, I'm ready. So that's in lieu of hopefully this rematch we get. Because I don't want either one of them to sit out, but I do respect anybody choice in career. I don't care who you are. If Errol Spence felt like he don't want to fight no more, that's all good. But if he ready to go, he ready to go. Mark said Mark Nash TV. Yes, go and sub to Mark Nash. Anybody who got a YouTube or whatever here, go sub to my activist brother. Uh, go sub. He talks about a lot of engaging and thought-provoking content. Go hit him up on his page. What's up, bro? What is up? So let's get into it. So look, I'm tripping. I'm tripping because I remember these last 5 years. And it was frustrating, sometimes motivating, sometimes downright rude. You can think of a lot of adjectives to describe this last 5 years with the anticipation of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fighting. But what led to that, I put more of the onus on PBC and Errol Spence and his team and his followers. Now, people can say, oh, Miss T, you being biased, but am I? Back then, if you remember, Terrence Crawford hardly said anything. It was a criticism that even his fans gave him. He hardly said anything. But now lately, he says a lot. He gets out there. Sometimes people gotta, I ain't gonna say mature, but grow into it. It's evidently clear everybody, men and women, mature as they get older. But sometimes you gotta grow into being a talker. Not everybody can just talk. That's a gift too. Lord knows I got it. Some other people got it too. But Lord knows I got it. I know everybody just can't get out there and speak in front of people. They worry about what they say, what they look like, all that good stuff that could be like a barrier or whatever. And maybe Terrence had that in droves. Earl wasn't that much of a talker neither, but he talked more than Terrence. But Earl, you got to give the responsibility on his shoulders for stirring up the flames or something, or stoking the flames or putting fuel on the flame. Because he would say something, he didn't have to do a lot of talking. He didn't have to say exact words. He just give y'all just enough, and then y'all take it and y'all run with it. When I say y'all, I'm talking about Earl sexuals or Earl fans and all that stuff. It's enough. You take it and you run with it. You run with it and you make a mountain out of a molehill. And I said, now the boxing fans, we talking now. So let's talk about these recent excuses offered up by yours truly, Errol Spence, a.k.a. the Nutcracker. Let me find my picture. I don't think I got rid of that one. Y'all remember this? a.k.a. the Nutcracker. Y'all know he was a nutcracker for. Oops. I'm just going. That's my daughter, by the way. Y'all, my bad. Let me get back to this picture. Okay. So he's offering up excuses. Now, what happened to, I don't tell no excuses, and even if I did have some, I wouldn't tell you. That don't mean that you hold your tongue for 6 months and then you still get the mantra of being a truth teller, a straight up dude. Now, I will say before, you always got to praise people before you criticize them. What him and Terrence did at the end of the fight by acting cordial and peaceful and gentlemanly like to each other says a lot to me. It showed leadership. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a ticking time bomb. It could have broke out into all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? The disappointment of it all. The frustration of it all. The braggadocious people of it all. It could have went any kind of way. But because they stood up and represented gentleman behavior, it was smooth sailing. People went to the fight. They enjoyed it. They either came home disappointed or they came home happy, but they came home without incident. And that's because of how those two men handle themselves. And I emphasize men because they act like men, grown-ass men. But You always sit back and say, how long is this shit gonna last? How long is it gonna last before one of them fall back into their old ways? And leave it to Errol Spence. He did it. Oh, I'm not gonna make excuses. People praise him for sitting up there giving that last interview on the stage with his hat on, but with his face fully exposed, not trying to hide his bruises and all that crap. Yeah, but you just negated everything you did that night and stuff subsequently following the fight by coming out with these excuses now. At first off, I thought long and hard about this, and it is the excuses that they come out with, the conclusions of it all, that got me to say, okay, you're gonna talk about it. You're gonna talk about it. Because at first I probably wasn't gonna even speak on it. But when I see people just take it and run with it, I be like, I gotta speak on it. And it ain't just people online that be saying stuff. It's people offline that be saying. So I got a friend that I talk about boxing with all the time. Now, in one case, we can look at the Devin Haney and Regis Prograis fight, and I, not being the biggest fan of Devin Haney, I don't hate Devin Haney. Just because I'm not a big fan of anybody, that don't mean I hate him or dislike him. But I ain't the biggest fan of Devin Haney. I picked Regis to win. And I never said that Devin wasn't a better boxer. But y'all know most of the time I picked the better boxer, the more skillful boxer to win every time. This time I didn't, because I felt like if Devin get caught with one of Regis' blows, that's it. That's it. He's another fighter that, in my opinion, he's put in, except for the Lomachenko fight and this Regis fight, in my opinion, every fighter he been in the ring with, he was supposed to win. He was guaranteed to win. Now, Active Activist, he's a big Devin fan, so it ain't like we be biased over here. I'm just speaking what I see. But I looked at that fight and I said, Regis got his ass whipped by what I always say. The more skillful, better fighter will always pull the win, to me. Always pull the win. Like, never say 100%, but damn near close to 100%. 99.9% of the time, the more skillful fighter will always win. And I actually picked against the more skillful fighter, and he lost. Regis. I picked him over Devin, and he lost. And he lost terribly because he got his ass whooped. Devin exemplified more in that fight than any other fight. The science, the sweet science of boxing. Hit and not get hit. Now, compare that to Spence and Crawford fight. I think it was a lot different in many ways, but if you just going off the premises of a one-sided victory, then they similar. Devin beat Regis. Regis made it to the end. Terrence Crawford stalled Errol Spence. In both cases, the results came like that, or it fell like that, because one was more skillful than the other. In both cases. And unless you can prove to me that a motherfucker, a person with unless you can prove to me that the skills didn't matter, and I don't know how you would, then it don't matter what weight class they fight at, how many years they go down the line, unless the other opponent who lost because he wasn't as skillful gets all of a sudden all these skills, it ain't gonna change nothing. It ain't gonna change nothing for Regis. He's already 34. Errol Spence about to be 34. It's not gonna change. In order for you to been looking for a change, you should have been looking way back early. Now, Errol Spence owes his claim to fame or fame to one Floyd Mayweather, TDE himself. Without that little incident or talk or narrative about him getting the best of Floyd, who is Errol Spence? Now Floyd can get you in the door. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? Floyd can get you in the door, but after that, you got to show and prove. Did not Errol Spence show and prove? He showed and proved by winning his fights and dominating and winning them in the fashion that he won them in. But that's why he rose to fame. But what had happened was he was reading and feeding off his own press clippings, his own hype that was founded in nothing but bullshit when comparing itself to Terrence Crawford. The active activist says she bet on the puncher that fight. I sure did. Active activist, and I was dead wrong. All the way wrong. Now, Errol Spence, I don't follow Twitter that much. I do got a Twitter account, but I ain't quite sure how to use that bad boy. So y'all gotta remember, this social media, this is something I dabble in. This is not my generation of shit. I was 30 years old before I got my first cell phone. So I managed to live in this world 30 years without social media, cell phone, or anything. So this ain't my wheelhouse, and it just don't come that easy to me. I understand the way the world turns today, that everybody got to get acclimated, but it's just not my generation. Atari came, I was over 8 years old when Atari came out. Mm-hmm. I'm having a drink, y'all. Sweet tea, that is. But yeah, I was over. I think I was over 8 because my brother was about 8 when Atari came out. So again, y'all, I live more time, without it. But as time go on, it's gonna even out and possibly go to the digital side. But I was analog all day, manual all day. So I don't follow these folks on Twitter, not even Terrence Crawford. But Earl came out of hiding, or should I say hibernation, or should I say Earl was incognito. He was incognito for a while, for like 6 months. Now people be like, "Oh, T, how you say that? How you want me to say it?" He was incognito. Here's a man that stay on social media. You can count on he ain't going a whole week without posting nothing. And I don't even think he going a whole day, or maybe even a couple of days without posting nothing, to complete silence, like the disappearing act. He got off social media. Between him, Jermell, and Jamal, they went to each other's fights. Now Earl ain't going to no fights. Could y'all possibly think that Frank Martin didn't have a fight because his boss in Errol Spence probably wasn't trying to work with him or show up? I'm telling you, the boy was incognito. But I'm going to break down these 3 excuses, and I have to call them excuses. At first, I thought about it. Then I was like, I don't know. But since it's like took some kind of flight, it's like I can see how people taking it and making it sound legit. I'm going to break it all the way down. And this is all coming from the so-called eye collector, the face destroyer, and rib collector in Errol Spence. This is what they dubbed him. This is why I say he was reading his own press clippings. How many fighters get hit in the ribs and get messed up where they can't come back out, where they can't get off the stool? That happens a lot. It happens a lot. We have known fighters to break people's ribs. Hey, what's his name? One time, Keith Thurman broke a rib or 2. He broke, then bruised, broke, hurt, whatever you want to call him. Julio Diaz, when he fought Diego Gabriel Chavez, he hurt his ribs too. But see, then I say, T, is it the wording broke? Or is it should they use a better word than broke? Because broke, bruised, and hurt is three different things. Y'all do know that, right? But leave it to his fans and leave it to him to elude that he broke his ribs. I've had arguments, and active activists know this. I've had arguments / debates about the fact whether or not that Errol Spence rib was broken. That ain't what they said. You remember that guy that did a compilation video that showed what people said up until the day of the fight and then what they were saying after the fight? All them people that want to holler these excuses didn't say that at weigh-ins. They didn't say that the day of the fight. They didn't. But now that Earl has given some breath to those excuses, you know, they can't help themselves. It helps them because they can never accept the fact that skills won. It's like I said, I can fully say this, not being a big Devin Haney fan, skills won between him and Regis. Regis ain't got enough time in a day to come to combat against Devin skills. He if he don't know it by now, there's nothing he could do to upgrade that. It would take him years. And by that time, he'll be too old to be at boxing in the first place. I can fully say that Devin was just more skillful. And don't feel bad about it. It's a fact. But these Earl fans and Earl sexuals, they cannot say that about Terrence Crawford. It has to be a catch. It has to be something else. And Terrence, you know, in his niggadomus way, procrastinated. What is the word I'm looking for? He called that out when they was behind the stage at the Maurice Hooker fight. He said, if I beat you, they're going to say you was weight training. You're going to say da-da-da-da-da. They're going to say this, they're going to say that. And I'd be damned if it didn't happen. Terrence was being Nicodemus that night. He was telling the future. So let's break them down. Let's start with the weight drain. You know why I can't get that excuse? I can't for so many reasons. Let me tell you, when I be saying that I train boxers, I'm telling the truth. I worked with kids. I also work with adults, but mostly with kids. So that's where my training was. But in the evening, I would work with the grown men and all this stuff. And I started that because I put my nephew in a boxing gym up the street, but I wouldn't leave while he was at practice. And I noticed that all the parents, mostly the fathers, they would lend a helping hand. So if you want to say, I started off like a water girl, and I would just be there. Even when the fathers long came and went, I was still there. Even when my nephew left, I was still there. So I was filling water, giving them water in between routines, helping with the routines. It's just one man. He can't go around to everybody. And then he had to train the men that night. So I was in there helping them all the way up till he closed. And then one fateful day, he turned around and referred to me as Coach T. Y'all, I'm telling you, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I was so appreciative and pleased. I couldn't stop smiling because here I'm in male-dominated type sport or with all these dudes, and they call me Coach T, and they kept calling me Coach T. And I was like, okay. And like I said, I did it for a while. One question I always had when I first came into it is, how y'all pick people's weight? What is the science behind that? How do a wrestling coach know what weight you should fight at? And believe me, you ask anybody that question, and they'll be hard-pressed to kind of give you an explanation where you can say, I got it. I got it. It's kind of what they told me was, you'll figure it out. You'll see. And after being around them all the time, I did see. You can have a person with a flat stomach, cuts and striations, as active activists like to call it, striations all over your chest and arms and legs and shit, and you look at that person who look totally fit and you be like, nah, you should fight 2 weight classes down. You'd be like, what? I used to wonder, like, an untrained eye would be like, how you come up with that? I don't know if y'all ever seen Gary Russell Jr. working out. He got videos where he was working out, and then at the end of his workout, he stepped on the scale. Now, we all know that Gary Russell Jr. fight at 126. In that workout, he looked like 126. The whole time, I'm thinking, at best, he's at 130, 131. He jumped on the scale at 146. It was either 146 or 143. And he was like, see, I can, for you, those of y'all who don't think I can fight somebody bigger. Look at what, like, he was, I think he was challenging Devin at the time. I can fight at 135. Look what I weighed today. I was like, what? I mean, Gary Russell Jr. don't never show you he out of shape. You don't never see him with fat on his body. You know, I don't know what the future holds for him. But back then, no. He was always slender, thin. Kambosos will always be slender, thin. He ain't going no higher than 135. Floyd Mayweather, believe it or not, was always slender, thin. These are guys who never had weight problems. But you got some guys who are big, like a Errol Spence, who at the time could just get down and wait. But the reason why I don't get nobody an opportunity to complain about weight, because you knew it was coming. You knew it when you was 20 years old, that at one point in time in your life, you was going to have trouble making weight. You already knew that. If you're around men and you're around boxing all the time, you know that as people get older, that weight do not come off as easy. You just know. It ain't about how active you are. It's just about how your body and the inside is evolving and changing. The older you get, the harder it is to get weight off. And the telltale signs were there. You know, when you 20, 21, 22, you get into the training camp, all your weight fall off within the first couple of weeks. When you in your 30s, you in your 6th week, and you be like, okay, I still can't get these last 10 pounds off. So the telltale signs be there. So you mean to tell me that out of all the fights that Errol Spence have fought, there's only one fight that he was weight trouble or weight drain? You mean to tell me that he was slated to fight in February of 2023 with the one Keith Thurman? Of course, he've always said he'll never fight him, and he stuck to his word. He has a car accident. Nobody has real details other than what Earl said on his little live. And PBC took that live as face value or the gospel. WBC took that live as face value and the gospel. And he, never showed proof for anything. He said his leg was hurting a little. His car, which was armor plated, looked destroyed. So I can't even imagine what the other car looked like. A young boy is supposed to have hit him. But yet, when I called around to Texas, and I'm not saying that it's not there in the records, but when I called, there was no record. And I tried. I was willing to pay because this shit is public record. But getting past that, at the time of his accident, when he went live, he was not in shape. He was not 147-pound division shape for a fight. I ain't saying he was fat and hanging all around the side and all. He was huge. He was much bigger than what he's supposed to be, being that his fight was supposed to be 2 or 3 weeks out. Jerron Bruce Ennis has a fight that same month, and IBF puts the order out. We all know about it, that Errol Spence had 180 days or be stripped of the belt and it'd be given to Jerron Ennis, right? But IBF stripping Terrence, that's another issue, because true enough, by their rules, the new champion inherits the old champion's problems. But 2 months, 2 months is some change. Nah. But anywho, Errol Spence knew he had to fight. He was going to fight come the summer. That would have been 180 days away. He knew it was coming. So if you've had telltale signs, which he has, because you guys have heard him the year before, I had to get a nutritionist. I had, blah, blah, blah. You was in fighting shape. You was ready to make the weight when you was going to fight Pacquiao the year before. That summer before. You was ready to go. They pulled you offline, okay, for the eye injury. All right, you got to go home and chill a little bit and recuperate. You made the weight for the Ugas fight, and then you waited a whole another year. And then you had an accident that January when your fight was supposed to be 3 weeks later and you wasn't in physical shape. You actually said in 2022, with or without you, Terrence Crawford, I'm fighting November 19th. And, for a person that y'all be calling the truth, that didn't happen. Terrence Crawford similarly said the same thing. I'm having a fight this year. What Terrence Crawford failed to do is explain why he said that. Because according to the sanctioning body that he holds a belt in, he had no choice. If the fight between Earl and him won't going down, he already was exacerbating the time from when he had a fight before it. He has to fight every 9 months and face mandatories. But the only wiggle room they would give him is when they thought the pending fight between him and Earl was going down. And since that was not going to happen in 2022, and that was per Earl's mouth, PBC's mouth, and Floyd Mayweather's mouth, Terrence Crawford had to have a fight or get stripped. So Terrence Crawford said, I'm going to fight this year. And guess what happened? That year, he fought December 10th. So, and ATL, I hear you. I see you in there saying, Cap, I ain't told y'all nothing but the truth. I spoke nothing but the truth. But some of the Earl fans can't handle the truth. Errol Spence was slated. I'm not talking about what he felt and what he wanted. He was slated to fight Keith Thurman that February. He had that accident in January. When you look at that live, he was not in shape to fight. Keith Thurman, if Keith Thurman is the inferior fighter to Errol Spence, if they had to fight at that time, Keith would have won because Keith took it seriously. He was in shape. Earl had no intentions of fighting Keith Thurman, and he used the accident to legitimize why you had to push it off. But like I said, he was in a conundrum. He had to fight Keith or Boots or Stanionis or Crawford. Which one was he going to pick? If anybody with some common sense, I'll pick the one that's going to bring me the most money, which was Crawford. I'll pick the one that was going to bring me the most belts, which was Crawford. Later for all them other dudes, what you say, ATL? Where the hot link? Nigga, you gonna wait and be patient. you gonna treat me just like you treat them dudes. Y'all wait for the link with them, you gonna wait for it with me. I can't help it if your impatientness does not generate an emergency on mine to hurry up. But anywho, so he wasn't in shape. Now, contrary to what a lot of people think, you can lose weight without exercises. Let me say that for the people in the back. Contrary to what a lot of people think, you can lose weight without exercising. That can be proven all day, every day of the week, and twice on Sunday. You drink your proper amount of water, you eat the proper food, you can lose weight. And I mean lose it faster than what you normally do when you go and try to exercise. The exercise is just as important, but it's a backup to the backup. To sit here and think, you got to exercise to lose weight. That's the only way you're going to lose weight. That is not true. People have proven that shit over and over again. If you don't want to develop atrophy, which is a real thing, you want to get your ass in the gym and you want to exercise or you want to be active in some kind of way, shape, or form. If you want to exacerbate your muscles or make them pump and pop more, yeah, go in the gym. But just to say, I want to lose weight, therefore I have to exercise, that is not a true statement. So Errol Spence, while nursing his unproven leg problem that he had from the accident, because he didn't say it was broke, he said it hurt or something. He could have started his journey on trying to lose weight with his nutritionist then, but he didn't. Like I said, he knew he had to fight that summer. It is true that the IBF told him he had 180 days. So he knew he had to fight that summer. Point blank, period. Whether it's with Boots or whoever he chooses, he was fighting that summer. So why not start your journey and losing weight in January? All that required is to eat right, drink your water, eat right. Tough Glove Boxing is in the building with Poppy King. You know, that's all he had to do. Tough Glove said, that's facts. Juice fast for 3 weeks. I'm trying to tell him, Tough Glove. I be trying to tell y'all, but some people stubborn like ATL, you don't be listening. What about this second fight ass whipping from Spence? We gonna have to see. Because I don't never get nobody 100%, even my favorite fighter, Terrence Crawford. You know, I don't get nobody 100%. But I'm saying for the weight drain, just on what I just said, you can cancel Christmas and using that as an excuse. You can cancel Christmas. You chose to fight at 147. And when you looking at people, how people determine trainers and people like that, go in the gym and look at a person and say you should fight at a lower weight, because what they're trying to pick is your most optimum weight. Everybody has a optimum weight. It's called something else. Something stasis. Something I can't think of the word. Start with an H, I think. But everybody has a set weight where they are at their best. You know, you will run the fastest. You will jump the highest. You will do a lot of stuff at this particular weight. And that's what they're trying to guess. What weight is that? A lot of people don't know that when you fight 36 minutes in a boxing gym, in a boxing ring, in an actual fight, you could lose 15 pounds that night. So and this stuff is not good for your body overall. I don't care what nobody say. You cannot lose weight, get down to 147, then rehydrate 20-something pounds, and then lose 15 pounds the night of the fight. Come on, shorty. That is a yo-yo thing that I ain't gonna call it diet, but you playing with your body. And they're gonna be playing with you in years to come. Do that shit now while you young. Okay, cool. When you get older, you're gonna pay for that. That's why it's important not to balloon up in between fights. And we know Errol Spence, he likes to balloon up in between fights. But you can't tell young people nothing. ATL said that ass whooping gonna be at 147. Yeah, Terrence Crawford way. To understand that statement, you know, like I said, you gotta understand why I picked the weights. And Errol Spence started off, I believe somebody said he started off in his professional fighting at 160. Then he said, nah, let me go to 154. And then he settled for 147. Now, why do you think that is? Do you think if Errol Spence would have started, why would he start at 154 and 160 if he was nowhere near that? Why would you pick that weight if you was nowhere near that? Because 9 times out of 10, when you come into boxing, you're going to pick a weight to fight in that's lower than what you walk around in. So if he started at 160 or went to 154, that means he was bigger than that. But see, Errol Spence would be probably a lot of these people, they wouldn't be as popular. I ain't saying nobody. They wouldn't be as popular as they are picking these lower weights. That's why casual boxing, that's the dude that got a podcast or whatever. He used to always call him the weight bully. This was like so many years ago. He's called him the weight bully. He would go to Texas, try to spar with him, and they wouldn't spar with him and shit. And he was calling him a weight bully. He was calling him a one-trick pony then. You know what I'm saying? So miss me with the weight excuse. Out of all the fights that he's had, the 29 fights that he's had, only one fight he had a problem with weight. Only it was just too much, a bridge too far. Oh, overnight or 2 months into camp, he just realized that he really couldn't make 147. Y'all lying to me. I'm on my Cat Williams shit. I'm exposing. That's a damn lie. That is a what do you call it? A phase on, a fat phase on lie. That nigga Cat Williams crazy. That's a lie. Errol Spence knew he had troubles with his weight way before he ever fought Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, or whoever he fought. Again, you can tell by what they pick where they want to weight, where they want to weigh. In the beginning, he picked a weight that was smaller than what he walks around in, which I heard he tried to have one fight at 160, but he pretty much picked 154, and then he went to 147. So these are 160 is smaller than what he was walking around in. Then that means you had weight problems even then. You weighed way more than you walked around. So don't get up to the fight that you lose and say you was weight drained. Now, to Errol's credit, I never heard him actually say he was weight drained, or you try to use that as an excuse. I watched what he did. Fuck what you talking about. I'm going by your actions. Why is you running up a hill in Vegas in mountains and shit all the way up to the weigh-ins? Why is you doing that if you weren't struggling to make weight? I even said on here, man, he don't look like he gonna make that weight. He gonna damn near kill himself trying to make weight. Why are you in the midnight hour before the fight still trying to lose weight? That shit should have been capped off and done, in my opinion. Your last month should not be you trying to lose weight, in my opinion. As Tough Glove Boxers say, go on a juice fast for 3 weeks, all that shit coming off. Just that quick. When you know you signed the contract, usually they fight 3 months or so after they sign the contract. Okay, look, say you signed the contract in April. He could have fasted the whole month of April, the whole month of May, whatever, and would have knocked all his weight off. And then by the time he started going to the camp, you know what? He would have had a lot of energy, because when you get into your 3rd week of juicing, you get energy from God knows where. It's better than any drug you could have took. You get some powerful energy. You could be trying to go to bed, have been up all day, and you be like, I gotta go running. When I tell you you get energy, you get energy. It's probably better than any kind of juicing you could do that's illegally. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do that. But like I said, some people, when you young, what you can do when you young, you can't necessarily do it in the same fashion. I ain't gonna say you can't do it, but you can't do it in the same fashion as when you get older. And Errol Spence is not young. I know y'all like to think he's Superman, but he's a man. He's but a man. As I'm gonna say about all the rest of them, Terrence Crawford is but a man. Even though I like Terrence, he's not my superhero. So Errol Spence damn sure won't go be mine. But to a lot of people, Errol Spence is their superhero. When he makes statements like, what he said before the Danny fight, tune-ups are for people who ain't sure themselves. And then he turned right around and picked the tune-up. Now people get mad because I call Danny Garcia a tune-up. I'm talking about the level of competition that was before him. He could have picked Terrence Crawford. Why Danny? Danny couldn't offer you anything else. And remember, it was strap season. So what strap did he get for beating Danny? And if you compare Danny and Crawford, which one of them would you call the tune-up? Errol Spence made, and maybe he didn't mean to, but look at the words he said. He made tune-up like a bad word. People get injured. People have to get surgery. You don't take somebody who just had surgery or was severely injured and then try to put them in with the toughest mofo on the list. You put him in with somebody that he could be easily, just to get him the experience and be in there. Because if anything was going to break or was going to be messed up, you wanted to be with somebody who he could easily beat. Why would you want Terrence Crawford in there coming out of an injury? That's the last person you want to be fighting. ATL said, where are the Crawford fans at? Y'all scared of Post. You blazing. I heard that. They said, who God? I say, they treat him like he's Superman or something. He ain't my superhero. Neither is Terrence. So that's why I say, the weight drain, you can miss me with that. I just gave y'all a breakdown from before he got pulled from Pacquiao, he was in fighting shape. Then he fought Ugas the next year. He made weight fine. Nobody said shit because he looked good. Even though Boots rocked him. Not Boots. Got Boots on my mind. Ugas rocked him, but Ugas probably got a couple of good minutes in him compared to Errol. And Ugas is a Cuban fighter, and you know how we feel about Cuban fighters. So Ugas caught him. If the ropes weren't there, he would have fell through him. But in the end, it's how you finish. And Errol dug deep and came back and whipped that ass. Now, the thing when they be calling Errol the eye collector, the rib collector, he breaks your face, all this shit, again, elevating him, putting the cart before the horse to a heightened level. Y'all didn't do that about Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman broke some ribs in his fights. One Julio Diaz got his ribs broke fucking with Keith Thurman. He fucked around and found out. Diego Chavez. Something was up with his too. Because I remember the commentators speaking on that shit. But you never heard people say the shit that they said about Spence, about Keith. And Keith hurt people. One time, Keith had that one punch knockout. I can't say Errol had that. Errol had an accumulation of power. You took it, but you like, I don't want to take that no more. And you take 2 or 3 of them bitches, yeah, he got you. But Keith had that one shot. You done. And he broke rib, but we never called Keith Thurman the rib collector. And I dare to say any fighter that gets in the ring, whether they win or lose, they don't come out with sore ribs and sore, body. They do. They all do. But Errol was Superman. Let his fans tell it. He was the eye collector. He was going to collect Bud's eye. Break Bud's rib. All that good stuff. So in the end of the day, moving on past the weight, Errol Spence had plenty of time to lose weight. So I don't see how anybody can put together a legitimate excuse for the weight drain. And they know they can't, but they do it anyway. He said Spence got his ass whooped, and that's my favorite fighter. But every dog has his days. It's not every dog. He got beat by skills. And yes, every dog could have his day, but he got beat by skills. We can't talk about what you hope no more. We got to talk about what is. They fought July 29th. So from the beginning of his career up until that day, we got to just talk about what is. Spence didn't lose that by happy chance or he just, every dog have his day. He was the less skillful fighter in that ring. He was the less skillful fighter. Point blank, period. He said that eye collector ish is dead now. Yeah. We don't say that about nobody. I'm not gonna turn around and say Bud take lips, eyes. He make you do the stanky leg, even though Bud predicted it. Then he predicted the active actors. He said, "I'm gonna make you do the stanky leg." He said everybody ain't leaving with that. Oh, that's true. That's true. That shit, the past. It ain't the past. It won't the past about Bud's accomplishments up until that day. It won't the past about Spence's accomplishments up until that day. But now that that day has come and gone, if we gotta say it's the past, it ain't the past. That's the living, breathing truth, current truth as of today. Only way that that's gonna change is if they fight again and we see something different. But as of today, that is the current situation at this time in place. So I think I made a good argument for why we can't claim uh weight drain. Well, ATL, we can move past it and get over it, but others don't. What do you have us do? If others in the boxing community keep offering it as an excuse, and like that's some sort of thing to talk about that's legitimate, we supposed to sit there and say it's the past? No, you guys are being sore losers. Y'all gonna eat this shit time and time again. Y'all gonna have to eat it. People try to move on and try to get past it, but y'all keep bringing up this stupid mess. And when I say y'all, I'm talking about his fans. Now, if Earl had beat Terrence the way that Terrence beat Earl, you wouldn't be saying that right now. You'd be saying what I'm saying. You wouldn't. He said, get in the ring again. Well, hopefully that's what they do. Now, I'm trying to move on. Let's go to the second excuse, the rib. Now, they said his rib was broke a month out from the fight. That's why he couldn't spar. So, therefore, he couldn't spar. So, therefore, he didn't get enough good practice in to prepare him for the fight. Again, go back and watch the dude's, I don't know his name. I wish I know his name, but shout out to him who made that compilation video, because the same people who are saying this had something different to say at the weigh-ins and the day of the fight. It's only after the fight that Earl gets demolished that they saying this. He had a rib injury. Then they show pictures of a rib sticking out. Now think about it. Let's use our common sense. So if it happened in sparring and he couldn't spar before the fight by close to about a month, who in sparring took his rib? Remember, he's the rib collector. He's the eye collector. Who took his shit? Who was his sparring partner? Because I don't know of any sparring partners that he had that was considered elite fighters, like on his level or Terrence Crawford level. So who took his rib? So if that person could take his rib, then anybody could take his rib. Camp is 2 months. So you sparred the first month, but not the second month. And you're a professional for about 14 years, but yet you couldn't muscle memory of, bring to bear your expertise and all that. You ain't forget how to fight. You've been fighting since you was a kid. Regardless if you could spar for a month. So to me, that's kind of weak. His ribs was broke. Now, maybe broke is a bridge too far. Maybe they meant to say bruise or they meant to say hurt, which would be a better word, but in the long scheme of things, they couldn't use those as excuses. And that's how you know they mean to make an excuse. Because think about it. Your ribs are connected to your bones on the spine, your cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Those are them little bones that cover your spine going in the back, and that's where your rib is connected back there. It comes around, and then in the middle, there's an open space, right? So if you think about how a rib is shaped, think of it like that. So, number one, I was trying to figure out how do I say this. Let's start with domes. Anybody who has ever had domes knows that this is some bullshit. Because, and if for the people in the back who don't know what DOMS is, delayed onset muscle soreness, you get that when you do strength training, like lifting weights and stuff. Your muscles get sore. But I mean, if you do some core exercise, and I mean you work it out, like several sets of different core exercises, within a day or two, you're gonna experience DOMS. DOMS can wake you up out your sleep. DOMS can prevent you from going to sleep. DOMS can prevent you from sitting still. You'll be a fidgety motherfucker. That is some pain for your ass. It's not unbearable, but it can have you sweating. Okay? And it's because when you experience DOMS, you tear your muscles, not like a big gash or nothing, but a microscopic tears. That part don't hurt when you tear it, but it hurts when it heals up. Whatever your body going through to heal that muscle, to replenish or fix that tear, that shit hurts. Okay. Anybody who's had DOMS in their midsection in their torso, it feels like it feels like your ribs are hurting. When you cough, it hurts. When you try to do number two, it hurts because you got to push. You can't even push out a fart, not alone raise your hand. Every time you move, you try to sit down, you try to do whatever, you in pain. There's no way a person with DOMS who got it real bad would get into a boxing ring and fight. You ain't gonna do that. That shit right there, because you'll be so focused, you won't be able to be as focused on the fight and doing what you got to do, because that pain is a pain that you ain't gonna ignore. Put it that way. I ain't gonna say it's unbearable, like you just can't take it, but it's teetering on that. It's some serious pain. And another thing you can't do when you do core exercises, it's hard to breathe when you experience DOMS. So let's get to the ribs. When you bruise and hurt your ribs, it affects your breathing. Why? Because the ribs cover your lungs. If you break your bone, what you trying to tell me? That his bone was broken. He didn't get it diagnosed by a doctor because he never showed us no paperwork. Just going by his word. Is he the type of person that will put something out and don't have proof? Yes, because we know he did it with that car accident. And some people feel that shit was fugazi, but he did that with that car accident, so why not? We know he can do that. So by his account, if his bone was broke, where? Because in sparring or boxing, you don't practice fighting somebody on the back. You practice fighting them in the manner in which they have to fight in the ring. The rule said you got to hit in the front. So if somebody broke his bone in sparring to the point that he had to sit out for a whole month without sparring, you mean to tell me, was it a clean break? Because there's several different types of breaks. You can smash your bones. Well, that would require that somebody put a metal in it to simulate a real bone. You can smash it. You can fracture it. You can splinter it, break it in splinters. You know what I'm saying? Or break it and shatter it in several teeny little pieces where you can't put it together. You can have jagged edge breaks and if you don't know about your organs in underneath that rib cage, very sensitive, very sensitive. Just touching it can bruise it. And I'm talking your spleen, your gallbladder, your pancreas, your diaphragm, your lungs, and a little bit of your heart. All of this stuff is under the rib cage. Your organs are that sensitive, and they covered in a melanin sac, and you don't want to puncture these sacs. But a jagged bone break could do that. You know, if you think you're going to get through a whole fight with D. Terrence Crawford and he ain't going to hit you in the gut, come on now. It don't even have to be Terrence Crawford. Any fighter that you got in there with, the potential of you getting hit in the stomach was great. You're going to catch one, And if your bone was broke, and I said, depending on the break, it could be the death for you. Or you can have a clean break, which people mostly want a clean break. So let me tell you about bones. For those of you recall your health classes or, anatomy classes, which I've taken, um, a bone has to be reset immediately. Immediately. What you never want to happen is to get some kind of decay or some kind of infection, and that can happen when you break bones. That's why they fix them right away. Not everybody can break a bone or something and walk around and don't do nothing about it. Now, I would say, and I know active activists know this because he was in Hawaii. Remember that? Was you in Hawaii? No, were you in Hawaii? Yeah, you was in Hawaii. Remember that guy, active activist that used to be, where the airport, and then across from there was Catman Housing and all that kind of underpass under a bridge, and there was a bum. Now he had his bone look like from the bone that connected the shoulder, either the collarbone, clavicle, I don't know what bone, but it was sticking out where his shoulder would be. Like you could visibly see a lot of bone sticking out and dead skin around. Man, I was like, oh my God. I've seen that. I ain't bullshitting you. I was like, how is this dude living? But people assured you, and even if you talked to him and gave him money, he never act like he was hurt. He was fine. But I couldn't see how. I was like, this man ain't got long to live. But then we found out that he had that injury for so many years, like over a decade, and he fine. Maybe if they tried to fix it, it would probably kill him. But that shit could never be like, even if you don't have no money and he was a homeless guy, he can justify pro bono work. And it does not make sense to be in America and that can happen to a person and don't nobody fix it because they ain't got no money. No, hell no. But I wouldn't believe it if I never saw it. The guy had bone hanging out and it was clear as day, out of skin. He was hairy as a bitch. His face, he was a white guy. He could grow hair all over his face. He had long hair, whatever, and it just looked weird as shit. Then we hear the story that Terrence Crawford broke his bone or did something with his bone in his left arm or right arm, and he hid it because he didn't want to get in trouble or something. And I mean, but that's his story, and he's sticking to it. But my thing to say is not everybody can do that shit. That's a risk you might not want to take. Because whether it starts off as a broken bone, it can turn into an infection real quick. And you can die just because you broke a bone. So we supposed to believe that somebody hit Errol Spence in his front torso, broke his ribs, because that's the word they use, broke. So that piece of rib that don't, how to come in the front, and I told you it's an open gap, it ain't connected. So what, the bone was floating around in his body as if him not doing nothing. When you break a rib, that's surgery. If they will sit you out for a cut on your eye, you cannot fight for a month if you get a cut. You cannot fight for 2 months, I believe, or 3 months if you get concussed. But they gonna let you fight with a totally broke rib. So it's broke. So is it hanging inside the belly? Falling into the other organs, and shit like that? What is it doing? ATL said, who wouldn't be saying that? Not me. If Spence would have beat Crawford, wouldn't see none of y'all hating him. Al Money said, hey. He said, ATL, if Spence had won, I would be right here. I picked Cool Boy to win over Anyway right before that, and I picked Canelo over Bivol. I would be here. It's in the end, it's just a fight. It's exciting. It's entertainment. But and I know, ATL, y'all Spence fans are delusional. Maybe you not as delusional as they are, or delusional at all. But aerosexuals are delusional. Y'all think that man's Superman. But just going back to what I said about the broke bone, what doctor sanctioned that? They need to find him and arrest him. And until Spence come out with proof that his bones was broken, and if his bones was broken, he had to do something. They would have wrapped his ribs, or he would have had to have surgery. Because if you break your hand or anywhere else on your body, you get that set or fixed right away. Right away. They don't hesitate with that. Because again, when you break your bones, in order for it to rebuild and refix itself, it has to be attached. And last time I checked, breaking is like where there was one, there's two. That means they're not attached anymore. So how is it going to get the nutrients that it needs to rebuild? And bones can rebuild themselves. They'll break down the bad parts and rebuild, and that stuff take time. Secondly, put this on your mind. If you broke your bone, you mean to tell me it takes a month to heal? That's also a reason why a doctor will call that fight off. I don't know nobody, unless y'all can tell me something different, where a person broke, I ain't say bruised, hurt, or sprained, I said broke their bone, and it took 4 weeks to heal. Not a finger, not a wrist, not an arm, not a leg. I don't know nobody. People in casts for a minimum 6 to 8 weeks. And then after that, you don't want to try shit because it just healed. It takes long for a healing like that to fortify and be tough as nails as it once was. So maybe broke was the wrong word. Maybe his ribs was bruised, or they just hurt. And last time I checked, you couldn't use that as an excuse. I'm talking medical facts. You cannot heal a bone that quick. I'm talking if it's broke, they're not going to let a rib float around in your fucking insides. You will have to have surgery. And for the break a rib, I think that's a surgery offense. When you break your arm, you can go before the doctor and they can set it, reset it, and then wrap the cast around and you good to go. How you wrap a cast around a broken rib? I think that's surgery. I believe that's surgery. But first, you got to put them shits together. When it's broke, they not together. So how in the fuck can they heal? And one thing you'll never want to do is heal something in the wrong way. I mean, we know that. Like, people have broken their arms and gone to get a cast, and the doctor didn't set it right, and they forever fucked up because that's how it eventually healed. It takes time to fortify that healing, meaning a newly healed bone, like you take off the cast, okay, your arm is healed, you can be regular. That ain't meaning you can go pound bricks. That means you regular. But you should know that over time, give it more time to make that shit strong and fortified like it was before. So y'all still believe that excuse about his ribs when he ain't offering no doctor slip or nothing. Now let's talk to Av. He definitely used that as an excuse, and I can really say Errol Spence went against what he said he was about. Y'all always say he tell the truth. Everything he say is the truth and nothing but the truth. So help him God. Well, I've always maintained, and people told me no, T is not like that your eye can have lingering effects. Like your mouth, it has a lot of nerve endings, and eyes don't heal that fast. They just don't, you know. I'm reminded of having an eye injury on the ship when I was in the Navy. And the guy, you couldn't even see what was injured. It was like a little cyst, a little teeny white speck on my eye. But it hurt. It dropped me to my knees and I was hollering. So they took me to medical. And on the ship, I don't know if you guys know it, like on a Navy ship anyway, you can't give people meds that could have them sleepy or knocked out. So the most you can get is an Advil. maybe a low dose Motrin, like a 200 milligram Motrin. That's, I'm sure, for people on the front line too. You don't want nobody high or just out there, man. You know, if you in that much pain, then you got to take them off the field or you got to take them off the ship. The guy looked at me. He was an independent corpsman. That's to say, he was good enough to be almost a doctor, like in a sense, the closest you can get to a doctor of a person who's not a medical doctor or a nurse. So anyway, he's an independent corpsman, and he said, put it this way. He said, if we was on the sub, we would have to surface to put you off. Now, to some of y'all out there, that might not mean much or nothing, but to me, I was like, wow, this is serious. We will have to surface to put you off. Anybody know about subs? They don't surface for nothing, not even death. They don't surface. They do not surface. And the sub life, you got to learn how to be quiet. That's anybody, any country. I'm not telling no secrets or none, but all subs, it's about being quiet. And you cannot be quiet with that injury that I had. He had to pull a big ass microscope, not microscope, but a magnifying thing, just a big circle thing. He put it over my eye, and he was then and only then able to see the white little teeny ass microscopic little, I guess he called it a cyst or whatever. That shit gave me more pain than anything. But I say it's equal to the nerve endings in your mouth. Very painful. So I knew how serious eye injuries could be. Again, I took anatomy, and I know that eye injuries do not heal overnight. It takes a long time. A long time. And we used to say on the show and other people's shows, they used to say, man, that car accident, there's going to be lingering effects. But all the Errol sexuals be like, no, he's Superman. In other words, they don't say it like that, but that's the gist of what they're saying. He's Superman. He, he says stuff like, tune-ups are for people to unsure themselves. This is coming off that horrific accident that could have took anybody out. The only reason he survived it is because he was drunk. When you that inebriated, you don't feel shit. And when you don't feel shit, you don't get as hurt as people normally would be. Bracing for impact, he could have broke every bone in his body. Just bracing for impact. But when you drunk, you're not bracing. But I always knew it would be some lingering effects. You don't walk through that thing unscathed. So now we learning that the eye injury was lingering from when he had the car crash. But this is the thing that kills people. This is why Terrence Crawford is upset. He said, I could have seen them jabs and that hook. Well, you didn't say that about Ugas. You didn't say that about Danny. So why are you saying that about Terrence Bud Crawford? Why it only means something because you fought Bud. And everybody can see Bud is the one fighter you lost to professionally. And this is where the excuse come in. You didn't say that about Danny, you won. You didn't say that about Ugas, you won. You never brought it up, ever, even if that was a problem. Even if that's why Ugas caught you and knocked you into the ropes. Danny rocked you a couple of times. Not rock. When I say rock, meaning hit you and you felt a certain kind of way. You felt that. But it won't powerful enough to like knock you off your square. Same thing with Ugas. Whatever Ugas did, it won't powerful enough to knock him off his square. But he did get caught a couple of times. But you won. And you notice you never said that about Ugas. Ugas caught you straight up and down. You never said that about him. But you said that about Terrence. And the only difference between Danny, Ugas, and Terrence is that Terrence mollywopped your ass. So is that an excuse? Yeah, it's an excuse. You had to get cataracts, your cataracts fixed. Okay, cool. It was lingering from the accident. That's probably why you picked Danny Garcia to fight him rather than Bud Crawford. But y'all was living off this narrative that Bud Crawford won nothing and he was an easy win and this, that, and the other. And his resume was 0.5. So I'd be like, where do you rank on that resume, Errol? Because now you're a part of that resume. So what are you? Are you 0.2 or 0.3? But I'm just saying, y'all, it is excuses in the end of the day. He said he won't go make an excuse. He said even if he had one, he won't go tell y'all, meaning the public. And what he wound up doing 6 months later, telling the public. So you are not the truth. You don't always tell the truth. You know that your fans can't handle truths like that, but you put it out there. You didn't break your ribs. You probably bruised them or got hurt, but that's not enough to have an excuse. You cannot ever, ever, ever complain about weight drain. No fighter really can't, just like I can't complain about height, weight measurements when I was in the military. And I complain. I ain't gonna lie, people gonna complain. Yeah, they complain. My motherfucking ass complained for sure. I felt like I did have a reason to complain. Why? Because they took my thyroid gland when I was 24 years old. And yet, I'm sorry for drinking, y'all. And yet, I did a whole 20. They took my thyroid gland right before I made 5 years in the military, and I did the other 15 and some change without a thyroid gland. Judge, just like every other woman was judged. And it wasn't fair. I don't think it was fair. I don't have the hormones like everybody else got to make metabolism and convert it to usable metabolism and shit. And so, yeah. But I made it. Some kind of way I made it. Chalk it up to genes, because I know a lot of people in that position. I used to be in, I don't want to say self-help group, or a little group of people who experienced that. And we used to meet in the beginning and talk about our experiences, because hopefully we can bounce ideas off each other, how we get our life back. It definitely fucks with your quality of life. Things that should come normal and easy, it's not. Imagine if you had to actually work at blinking. I'm just giving y'all that, to think about. Not that people with thyroid glands couldn't blink, but imagine if something that you don't think about, that's supposed to be innate in you, that you actually had to work at having that happen for you in your body. Can you imagine how that shit could drive you crazy? People blink. It's innate in you to blink. You don't have to work at blinking. But imagine if you did. With having no thyroid, I had to work at things that should have been natural or just came relatively easy. And it fucked with my quality of life. It fucked with, it can mess with depression, loss of hair, weight gain being the biggest one. As a female, who want that in their life? And then they don't tell you enough to connect the dots to make you understand. That's why I tell y'all, my journey in finding the health in you, that program that I have, I had to figure out something for myself first. And once I figured it out for myself, I said, oh shit, if it works on me, it damn sure works on people that don't have my issues. And taking anatomy classes have taught me a lot of stuff about the human body, how it's constructed and how it's supposed to function. And I didn't get no C's and D's. I got A's and some B's. Okay. So I won't know. I was an AB student. So I learned the shit. Some shit I learned, and just, it's a store and dump type thing, like statistics. I can honestly say, don't ask me no questions about statistics. I don't know. That was a store and dump, but I can tell you what grade I got. That was a big A. Yeah, I can brag about that, but I promise you, I ain't trying to learn that shit. I did what I had to do. I took it day by day. If we was learning about whatever probable shit and all that stuff, or learning how to break down the word problem, and break down one sentence, and we was doing that per week. That's all I focus on, because I knew a test was at the end of the week, so I would get my grade and then on to the next. But by the next, I still couldn't put that shit together. I promise you, don't ask me no statistics shit. I can't help you. I remember it, but I don't. All I was there to do is get that A. But I can't say that it's you cannot say that about science classes. That's one of them classes that if you get an A, you did learn something. There's no the way they teach anatomy, they throw a lot of shit at you all at once. And I always say, what if they spread some of this shit out? You can have people getting straight A's and blah blah blah. My neighbor, he took anatomy too. I ain't putting him down. Shout out to him. He took anatomy because he had to have it for his bachelor's degree. And the first time he took it, I know he took it more than 5 times, because the second time, I think he took it like 4 or 5 times. If you get a C, you got to take it again. You have to take it again. And depending on what program you're trying to get in, if you get a B, but it's a low B, you got to take it again. And if you in the medical field, that's a class you got to retake all the time. You got to test out of it every 5 years. So I'm just telling you, it ain't no joke. And then physics. I got straight A's in that because it was a lab and a lecture class. Straight A's in that. That shit was hard. I learned that a little bit more than I learned statistics. And physics ain't nothing but like a math class. But it's science, but it's like a math class. So these things I learned because I wanted to learn. Really, I wanted to become a ultrasound tech, but I wanted to learn how the body is constructed and how it functions. This is why I took those classes, and I learned a lot. And I'm telling you, if you break your bone, you have to immediately fix it, or you run the risk of having something that you can't fix later on, and it can take your ass up out of here. That's number one. Number two, the eye injury. If you didn't make the excuse for Danny or Ugas, then why did you say it? Because you won with those fights, so there's no need to bring it up. If that was the case, if your cataracts was preventing you from seeing hooks and jabs, then it should have happened like that for fighting Danny and Ugas. But you didn't say it because you won. Then when I say he was incognito, of course he was in hibernation and hiding. He got off social media. What would be the point of him saying, I'm back? And y'all know he said that in his tweet. I'm back. Where was you going? Where was you going? And if he broke his ribs, it's another thing I can tell you why I say he didn't break his rib. He flew. He didn't go back home. From my understanding, he didn't go back home to Texas. And even if he did, there still would be a reason why that he didn't break his ribs. Errol Spence didn't walk home. Errol Spence didn't catch a bus home. He didn't catch a train home. He didn't drive home. Errol Spence flew to Spain. And y'all know he did. Y'all done seen the caption. Like right after the fight, him and his girl, they went to Spain. You can't fly with broken ribs. I ain't saying you can't physically. Physically, you can get on a plane and your rib be broken and fly. You hide that from whoever. But you are taking a chance with your life. And I mean, you taking a serious chance with your life. When he was in Spain, he was chilling. He looked good. Dancing, just standing, rocking. He ain't seen press about nothing. But we supposed to believe he had a broken rib. Broken ribs, even bruised ribs, makes it hard for a person to breathe. So all in all, y'all, I'm just saying, think about what y'all speculating, what y'all conclusions are before y'all say it. Use a little common sense. You know, every 20-year-old fighter knows the weight gain. They know the weight gain. They know that what they can do now, they ain't gonna be able to do later. So sometimes you gotta get while the getting is good. Just like a woman can't be surprised. Oh my God, I thought I had time to have a baby. And she's 41 or 42 when she's saying this. Because we know the game, how the body works to that degree. We know that with women, you got to about 35 before it become a risk factor, a serious risk factor when having children. Of course, having children is always a risk factor. Some women die from giving birth, but we know it's a risk factor for having children when you like 35 years old and up. Yet women do it, but this is when you get them tests has probably gotten better. They probably have ways of testing your blood instead of them invasive tests they used to do to check to see if your baby was Down syndrome, to check. All of that shit started at 35. The risk was high. And the older you get, even they can say this about men too. Old men can make Down syndrome babies because they older. You know, ain't nothing like fresh anything, fresh new, anything. When you 20 years old and shit like that, you fresh and you new. Okay? So we got a time limit and we know this. So ain't no sense in no woman acting surprised, saying something like, oh, I didn't know. I thought I had time. I just wanted to start my career and make some bank before I start. Lady, you're a woman. That's not how we design. So can't no man therefore come and say, oh no, the weight drain. Oh my God, it's the weight. It was just too much. Blah, 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 blah. You knew from when you started boxing, Errol Spence, that you had weight problems. You knew this. We know that because you apparently fought at 160 and you fought at 154 before deciding to drop to 147. It ain't like you was walking around at 150 and said, I want to fight at 160. Nobody pushes upward like that. In boxing and wrestling, combat sports, they always go down or they stay the same. So for you to have picked 160 to start your career with, and then be like, I'm going to try 154. Then, I'm going to try 147. You knew then you was going to have trouble in your life with weight. And everybody knows the older you get, the harder it gets. Everybody knows that. Non-athletes, elite athletes, and everything in between. So miss me with the weight drain, the rib injury. Again, find the doctor. He should go to jail because he sanctioned that fight. He put that man's life at risk. Straight up and down. And you can't hide that injury. Because if they're getting full checkups before the fight, I'm sure an x-ray will show clear as day rib is broken. So we're going to let a rib just float around. We're going to let a rib, we don't know how it was broken. If it had jagged edges, we're going to let the bones be jagged like that so Crawford can hit him in the stomach and possibly push the bone back and puncture his fucking spleen or puncture his damn pancreas or something. We're going to let that happen? This is why I say a doctor would never sanction that. Doctors don't sanction concussed people. They make them wait 2 months before they can get in. You get a cut above the eye anywhere on the face. You're not fighting for a month, no matter how bad you want to. It's just what it is, Tyler. When Canelo slapped Caleb Plant and Caleb got that little cut, he was being evaluated. Because if it was serious enough, they would have called that fight off. But we not going to call a fight off over a broken rib? Really missed me with that. Active said he ain't have no choice. Undisputed was, Patrick. It ain't about he ain't have no choice. I get how he would have felt. Active activist, I get, and the link is in the witch count. I get how he felt. But to stand there and say he don't have a choice, he didn't have a choice when they pulled them off the Pacquiao fight. Sometimes medical win. What you talking about? He ain't got no choice. He had a detached retina. He couldn't fight. It won't him saying he didn't want to fight. The doctor said he couldn't fight. This is the same thing I'm saying with a broken rib. It ain't Spence. I'm not never saying Spence was scared or he ain't want to. We not talking about that. We talking about Spence got a job to satisfy his contract to get in there and fight through injuries. As TBE said, everybody comes into the ring with injuries. A lot of guys just suck it up, whoop, whoop, de whoop. Some injuries you can't suck up. They can be life threatening. You don't let nobody with a broke, not bruised, not hurt, but a broke rib go into a fight. And you ain't gonna let a person with a concussion go into a fight. They gotta wait 2 months. Give a care how much money on the line. They will have to wait 2 months. If you had a cut above your eye where you was really bleeding, you gotta sit out a month at least. At least. I don't care how much money on the line. There was money on the line, him fighting Pacquiao, but they sure pulled them off it. And Ugas got that chance. He said, "What you think about Tony Weeks?" Oh Lord, I've been ever since Tony Weeks did the Canelo. No, it was Maidana and Floyd fight. I ain't trust him since then. If Tony Weeks acting nefarious or malicious in any kind of way, I it ain't a shocker to me. Because he was letting a lot of shit go with motherfucking Maidana. Maidana even lifted his foot off the ground to try to knee Floyd. Tony Weeks act like he don't see shit. Cut that high top fade down so maybe you see everything. He said, I'm saying about the weight of the fight. He don't have a choice. Undisputed was at one. Yeah, the weight. I mean, what active actors, what I'm saying is, miss me with the weight talk. You was in the Navy too. Height weight is what it was twice a year. We all knew it was coming. They won't listen to no excuses. And that's the military. But you got millions of dollars on the line. You think these people want to hear an excuse about why you couldn't make the weight? You either gotta, if you don't want to have problems with your weight, you have to pick the right weight that you need to fight at. What I'm saying is, if you look at everything that was leading up to the Bud fight, he was supposed to have fought in February. Let's go back a little bit before that. Let me take you through the timeline again. He said, I don't care whether it's with Bud or not. I'm fighting November 19, 2022. Did he not? He said that, right? He didn't fight that date. But yet, roughly 3 weeks later, like December 3rd, he's in a picture with a belly. He's big as all get out, for, how do I explain this? So you can have a man that's his height and everything, walk around close to 200, and you wouldn't call him fat or nothing like that. But a man who fights at 147, he sure as hell was fat. And you can see it. So was he really going to fight at November 19th? You telling me in 3 weeks he got that motherfucking big? That nigga was every bit of 200 pounds or close to it. But he said, I'm fighting November 19th with or without turns. And that was a lie. Now, they said you got to fight Keith Thurman in February. And he had that accident in January. Now, when he went live, if you look at him, he wasn't ready for no motherfucking fight. He had a choice to live like a rapper instead of a boxer. He also had a choice to not take the easy route. Yeah, true enough. He said trying to call in the mountains right now. Oh, okay. Oh, my phone number to this don't work, y'all, no more. It just don't work. You calling in the phone. What's up, ATL?
What up, Queen? What's going on, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Where you going? It's cold outside.
Man, hey, it's cold everywhere around this motherfucker, bro. Hey, you can't slip out here.
Can't slip out here. Hold on, let me get activist first because he in the mountains. We might not get his reception real good. Go ahead, activist. What you trying to say? Unmute yourself.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
What's up?
Yeah, it look like what's up, boy? Shit, it look like my signal decent now. I'm on the decline. So
Oh,
hopefully
okay.
it'll last. But yeah, no, yes, you said it. You answered what I'm saying, and I get it. I get it. You right. Hey, you don't want to have them problems later on in life, later on in your career. You right. You can't be going too low, starting your career off at too many weight classes under your, walk around healthy weight. So I get that. But I say it like this, right? That weight, logic, excuse, reason, whatever people want to call it, that was already in the pocket waiting for when something bad happened. Whether it was he fought Pacquiao and he lost to Pacquiao, or he'd have lost to Ugas or whatever, like that excuse was coming. But his thing is, as a boxer, and especially as a champion, it don't matter how he feel. He's stuck. He's stuck at the weight because nigga, you got belts. So it is because it's money on the line. You got belts, it's prestige and money on the line. So we can't be clamoring for this Bud Spence fight for all these years, and finally it's on the horizon, and then he come. Well, I mean, I want the fight, but I don't think I can fight at 147. But then y'all it's just a regular fight. It ain't for
Yeah.
undisputed. Y'all want to make history, y'all have to have a fight at 147. So he got to go in there and make it the best fight he can at that weight, even if he feel quote unquote weight drained. Now, what I will say, what some of the steam off that shit is, as you seen, this rehydration stuff. I don't know what the clause was for him and Bud, but it's like we know if he stepped in the ring at 147, hey, all right, good on him. He's stuck to the weight, but I've seen people ain't saying they don't fight that game. And the way
You breaking
so
up, dog. You broke up pretty bad. You broke up pretty bad. We'll put you on
oh
ice a minute.
dang,
Yeah, cause you
I
every
heard
other
it,
word. You on every other word.
oh yeah,
I'm gonna give it to ATL.
it's
Shout out to
doing it.
Jason. Shout out to Jason Wim. Welcome to the building. Was popping King. He said peace, Miss C, peace to everyone. But say active activists, I'm sorry, cut you off. I had to give my shout out. Hello?
Now go ahead, ATL.
Okay.
You're
ATL,
kind of low,
what's
so
up
the
with
ATL go.
what's up with you,
What
ATL?
what's going on? What I supposed to be answering?
No, you came in first. I said let active activists get in there because he driving in the mountains and stuff. We don't know
Oh
how long he
shit.
gonna have. And you said,
He can
yeah,
go and
go
get on.
ahead. No,
Let him go and
he
come on.
already no, he can't he breaking up now. He said he
Oh,
was
okay.
coming on the decline, so he breaking up now.
Oh, okay.
First of all, ATL, how you like this t-shirt that stay in front of you?
I like that. Yeah. It looks
What
like to me just like going to make the deal, really.
yeah. Like I'm being respectful, y'all. I'm being respectful. Keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
then Errol Spence saying, I'm ready.
That's what it like to me. Just go like going to make the deal.
Yeah. Well, that shirt, I'm telling y'all, once I get off, cause I tried to load it up while I was talking, but I couldn't load it up in the store. But it's gonna be, let me see, while y'all talking, I'm gonna see if I could load it up in the store to tell y'all it's ready. But what you got on everything that I had to say? I just don't like the fact that he's saying no excuses, and if I did, excuse me, if I did have him, I won't go tell y'all. And then 6 months later, look at what he doing. He know. I ain't saying you. He know his fans though. He know they gonna take it. Oh, see, yeah, he had the eye injury. He know that people gonna say these things, and I was like, nah, don't do that. Don't do that, because I mean that's akin to making excuses. You had the same cataract problem when you fought Danny Garcia, and yet we never heard of it. Or Ugas, we never heard of it. Why? Because you won. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all I was saying. Like they coming up, but he know his fan. This is one thing Earl does that I do not like. He knows his fans. I gave him a shout out, him and Crawford, and how they handle themselves like grown ass men, gentlemen to be exact. after the fight, because people was mad. They was mad, ATL, and a fight between the different fans could have broke out anything. Somebody could have really got hurt, but it was the way they carried themselves like grown ass respectable men. How can you turn
Yeah,
around and be anything but them? After the way they carried it, how can you be anything but a man like they were if they didn't show it? They acted like real leaders. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? And I just think that Earl don't be thinking. Either he don't think, or I don't be knowing what's wrong with him. Why he would come out and say any of this shit? Because he.
I'm gonna tell you how I feel. Like
Mhm.
I think in all reality, he should just said the shit at first. When you know what I'm saying? Like, don't wait to now because it's just like, yeah, even though you said that night, he's a great fighter and he won. You supposed to just kept it. I feel like it would have been better just keeping it at that. Like, even if your
Yeah,
rib was hurting, even if you had a eye problem, whatever, you walked into the fight like that. So I just feel like you shouldn't have said nothing. Period. But what he's saying might be true though. What he's saying might be true, but I feel like he just shouldn't have said nothing. Period. I'm an Errol Spence fan all day. I ain't finna take up for him or make up or just say anything just because I rock with Errol Spence. But I think he should just kept it like he kept it when he first lost and shit waited for the second fight. That was it. You know what I'm saying?
See,
yeah,
I agree with what ATL just said. Like you're right. He wasn't supposed to say shit. You can let the fans do all that talking and litigating and all that. Cause my thing is, all he had to do was have the surgeries. People gonna put two and two together, but you don't come out your mouth and make the excuses. We see, oh shit, he went and had an eye surgery.
yeah. That's all. That's what I was saying. That
He
violated
had
that whole.
cataracts, this and this and that.
Yeah, that violated that whole thing about if I had excuses, I wouldn't tell you. You know how your fans are. Like that's my whole thing. You know how your fans get down. They motherfuckers build a mountain out of molehill.
Hell no.
You know they do, BTL. You know they do. Uh Like I said, these variants won't be added to it. Why the fuck won't they be added? Oh, let me see. Okay. Yeah, so you know how I'm trying to load up the shirt, y'all. You know how your fans take one thing and take an inch and go for a mile. You know that. I mean, anybody fan could be like that, but you know that your fans definitely do that. They've been looking for an excuse. Some of them out there that been having excuses all along. But
Yeah.
if you look at what they said the day of the weigh-ins and the day of the fight, they didn't say any of this. And you know what? A lot of Terrence fans, including myself, wouldn't have nothing to say if if they didn't keep doing the same thing that started us on this journey in the first place for the last 5 years. Is that bullshit? And they keep doing it. So what we supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to do if that's how you gonna be all the time? You can't just say I could say it for Devin and active activists. No, I ain't a big Devin fan, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But what I say about Devin and Regis? What I say about that one?
Then you say he
Active
won the
activist,
fight. I
huh?
mean, you gave him his props
Based
for winning the fight.
based on what?
What you
What
say?
is it?
Hey, pure boxing ability.
Skills. And ain't shit. I don't want to hear about no damn Regis and him should fight at 147. Or I don't want to hear none of that shit. Fighting at 147 is not going to change the trajectory of what Devin did to his ass. It ain't going to change it. It ain't going to change it. He won out of pure D
Yeah,
skills, point blank, period.
yeah.
Yeah, Reese got his ass
But
whipped.
see, and this go ahead, ATL.
No, I'm just saying Reese got his ass whipped.
He got
Did
his
he?
ass mollywop
But
like a motherfucker.
but look, this the thing though, right? Like you right. If that's the fan base, the aerosexuals as they've been called, if that's the fan base gonna look for any excuse, I mean, we already knew that. I think a lot of people, most people knew that. Like, and then especially like I think they could have ate it and they wouldn't have been searching so hard if Bud would have beat him, but he just would have beat him regular. But the dog him how he did, the fans can't eat that. So they've been looking for the reason since the night of the fight. And like I say, it don't matter what Errol would have came out and said. As soon as he got any kind of procedure or surgery done, that was the built-in excuse that the fans who wanted to look for excuse was gonna use. So soon as he got his eye surgery, then now the fans could go back retroactive. Oh man, see, we knew that nigga wasn't straight. We knew something was wrong with him. Ain't no way Bud was just supposed to whoop that man like that. Blah blah blah. So I mean, yeah, it don't matter what he would have done. The only thing he could have done to keep the chatter at a minimum is not to have the surgery and go into the second fight at a new weight with the same, basically with the same injuries or whatever was quote whatever pre-existing conditions he had the first fight.
Noah GX, welcome to the building, King. He said, salute, Queen. That's Noah all the way in Japan.
Okay.
Chilling.
Okay, we international with it. Okay, Noah, we see you, baby.
Yeah. So that's all I wanted to say, y'all. Like, I had to say something because if it was just one person, like, there's a couple of YouTube content creators that you can count on that's gonna come out and bring up these excuses because they ain't never stopped having excuses since the fight was over last year. And I don't speak on everything that they say, but I'm like, once Earl gave them fuel for their fire, I knew it was gonna be up, and it was up. And then people's like, yeah, they you can't play the fence, is what I'm saying. You can't say, well, good on, like Earl even said. Shout out to Terrence Crawford, should have been fighter of the year. He did good, bro. I knew my time's coming. Is blah blah blah. I'm paraphrasing, but then turn around and say I couldn't see his hooks and his jabs. What the fuck you mean you couldn't see his hooks and his jabs?
See, this would be the thing for me, right? So now I gotta go back and watch them fights that he had and see how many hooks and jabs he was catching from the other boxers that he still beat. But like I need to see that because that's evident. If he was getting caught with them kind of punches in them other fights, then I can believe him when he say, "Hey man, I had
Okay.
these cataracts and my eyes
Y'all
been
ain't
kind of
finna keep
messed up."
dragging. Look, y'all ain't finna keep dragging my man through the mud on the low. Hell no. When is this second fight gonna happen?
No,
Y'all
you
tell me
ain't
that.
gonna you ain't gonna brush this up. Or
Y'all
you
ain't
gonna
finna
eat
keep
this
just
shit.
dragging my man
You
through the
gonna
mud.
eat
It's
this
been
I
shit.
ain't,
6 months.
hey, and I ain't dragging him. I ain't dragging him, ATL. Like cause I don't want to believe either that he just making excuses.
Right.
Like I say, I don't hate the man. I'm a fan of both of them. So, but if I can go back, or I'm sure somebody now since that's come out, I'm sure there's a YouTube video where somebody that put it together. Oh, see, look, he was getting caught by them same shots against such and such, such and such and such and such.
Look, providing that he never had that injury, right? Let's say he never ever had that injury. We trying to say that it would be never a fight that he could be in where somebody can't catch him with a left hook or jab. We saying that could never happen
No,
in the Spence fight.
no,
Okay,
no, of
all
course
right,
not.
okay,
No, we
that's what
ain't
I'm
saying
saying.
that. We ain't
That's what
saying
I'm
that.
saying,
I guess
and
it's just yeah,
but
like,
that's what he's saying when he said, "Yeah, how do you say? Yeah, that's why the cataracts prevented me from seeing. I bet your turns swing faster than Ugas and motherfucking Danny, but neither
of,
Ugas
of
or Danny
course,
are
yeah, of
like
course, yeah.
they not D level fighters.
Terrence is a better fighter. Yeah, you right. You
They,
right.
they
Yeah,
not
Terrence
D
is
level
definitely a better
fighters.
fighter. Yeah, these dudes ain't just bums of the month.
Exactly. So
Man, that's like
so
look. That's like me speeding down the goddamn highway with Google Maps on, and Google Maps say it's a speed trap ahead, but I know I'm doing 80, and I keep doing 80, and don't even try to look for the goddamn speed trap. It's my fault, goddamn it. If I know my eye fucked up, I should have came in the eye in the fucking rain fucked up. If my ribs fucked up, I shouldn't have came in there. But one thing I do know that if I already signed the contract and I'm coming to this fight fucked up, I'm not gonna bag out of it because that's the bread too. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody been looking for this shit. So I don't wanna let my fans down. I don't wanna let nobody down. I'm gonna get this goddamn money. I'm gonna take my L and shit. Try to come back. That's the
And
only
I
thing I
agree
can
with
do.
y'all. I agree with y'all to a certain extent. But what I'm saying, there's rules and boxings. We can't act like they can't be applicable. It apply to everybody but Earl. No. If you a fighter and you get hit and you get a cut on your eye, whether you wanted to or not, and there are fighters that'll fight once a month, and especially in the beginning of their career. But whether you wanted to or not, you have to sit down. That's the rule. If you get a concussion, you have to sit down for, I think, a minimum 2 months, but it might be like 3 months. You cannot. And I don't care how much money the Saudis want to throw at you or where you could go to get the most millions.
Yeah.
You cannot come back until your time has elapsed. So if they doing it when he was ready to fight Pacquiao, he was in fighting shape. He was, I don't know if he was on weight at that time that they pulled him, but he was on his weight. There was nothing looking at Errol Spence that told you that nigga ain't even gonna make weight. He was going to make weight. He didn't want to not fight. He actually tried to circumvent it by going to get second opinions and all that. But they was like, nah, nigga, now that we know, we can't let you fight. It's a medical one. You know what I'm saying? And he's saying what he's saying. We supposed to believe that you can go into a fight with broke ribs? In what world? You know how many fights get stopped because a motherfucker break their ribs? Keith Thurman broke a couple of ribs in his day with his opponents, and guess what? They didn't come get back off the stool. You know what I'm saying? They had to call the fight. You and active activists, you are a gym fanatic. You know this. You know if you catch domes, and I know you know what domes is. Could somebody get you to do something like go play football, go play basketball, go get in a boxing ring, and you got domes real bad? I'm asking. Did we lose him?
I don't know.
Let me see. Yeah, we lost him. If he come back, I guarantee the answer gonna be no. For those of you in the chat, if y'all have ever had domes, I don't know if you've had it before, uh, ATL, because you say you played basketball, so I'm imagining that you did a
Shit,
little.
hold on.
So if you had domes, would you come back and try to do a boxing match? Man, domes will wake you up out of a sleep. And you ain't broke shit. All you did was tear muscles, but it feel like your ribs is fucked up. You know, if you do the core exercise, you can't even cough in peace. You can't even push your number 2 out. You can't push your poot out. So that's just domes. That's muscles. That ain't even a bone. Your rib cage is around a bone. I don't see no doctor sanctioning anybody to fight with a broken rib because that's surgery also. Unless somebody can tell me a different way to heal ribs without doing surgery, you gotta go do surgery. If nothing but to line the bones up and then wrap the outside of your body up so it can stay in place. But if you broke a rib, the lining is off. One thing you never want to do is to reset a bone when you ain't properly set it in the right place. You know what I mean, ATL? You don't never want to do that. And ain't no bones that I'm aware of heal in 4 weeks. I'm not aware of any. Not even on children. We know children heal faster. So this is why I say I had to think about it. If it was just if he came out and nobody really said nothing, But now I understand why Crawford gets upset, because that's upset talking. When he said it's all good though, bro. I'm moving on. When he say shit like that, uh, I can understand why he feels that way, because who want to keep trying to fight somebody? Floyd Mayweather felt that way about Pacquiao. Like, I don't want to do business with him at all because they are so loose. It's like, hey, come on, Shawty. You put a lot in. Both of y'all put a lot into doing.
Miss T,
Don't come with the excuses.
Miss
What's up?
T.
What's up?
I ain't want to be rude, man. I'm finna get up out of here, man. I got company. I
Oh,
love you.
okay. Love you
You know what
too,
I'm
man.
saying? And I'm gonna holler at
Take.
you.
Hey,
Love y'all,
man.
man. Everybody, hey, hit that like and subscribe button, man. Drink your water. You know what I'm saying? Happy New Year for everybody, man. I love
Happy
y'all.
Martin Luther King. Hey,
Same to
man,
you too.
turn your heat on, man. Turn that heat on, Shawty. Active activist, you back with us. I had asked a question when you fell out. Did you hear me? What did I ask? Can you hear me, active activist? Take your mute off. Take your mute off. Can you hear me? Let me see. He muted up, but I was asking him. What did I ask him? I think I asked him about did you what about bones and how do you fix that? Like a rib injury bone, because every bone you break, you got to immediately fix that shit. You can run that risk of getting an infection, and that's something you definitely don't want. And for y'all, hey, the shirts are on the site. I dropped the site. I'm gonna drop it again. Go through and get y'all a shirt. Go through and get y'all a shirt. Just type this in and go get y'all Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford shirt. I think it's respectable of both of them. You know, I like to create me some Terrence Crawford shirts. Um, but hey, let's keep it simple, man. And Errol Spence, like, I'm ready now. Like, I'm ready. You know, keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? I think, and this is why I say it was wrong for IBF to strip that belt. They didn't force Errol Spence to do nothing with that belt for years. For years, won't making them fight is mandatory. And I guess, after so many years, I guess they could say, well, we got fed up. We had to do something, but you took it out on the wrong person, is what I'm saying. The person you should have took that out on was Earl Spence. What you could have did was say, you know what, Terrence Crawford fighting or not, we stripping you of this belt. And then Terrence and Earl would have just had to fight for the WBA, the WBC, and Terrence WBO. They would have just had to fight for that, and then Terrence would have had one more thing. That would have guaranteed a Terrence fight with Boots, but the IBF didn't do that. The IBF sanctioned and went along with the fight, knowing the contract had a rematch in it, and then he let the dude, embrace it. Really, Terrence Crawford must have held that. I don't know if anybody held the belt shorter. It was 2 months and some change. Active apps say it again. I'm gonna answer here. Okay. I was like, if you break, man, fully understand what the word break means. Where there was one, there's now two. If you was in a sparring, then that person won't hitting you on the back where them fucking where your cervical bone and your thoracic bone and your lumbar bones that go around your spine, where the rib cage is connected in the back. He was hitting them in the front. So if he broke the bone, isn't that surgery to repair that? So that means there's a piece of bone floating around in his belly, able to be running into the other organs and shit. If the bone, depending on the type of break it is, if it's a jagged break or a clean break, whatever, you don't go into a fight like that. What if it's a jagged break? Y'all know what I mean by jagged, meaning it's not a clean, straight down through the middle break. It's a, some ends are sharper than the other. It's jagged. and a fighter, it don't even have to be Terrence Crawford. You can be inspiring. Somebody hit him in the stomach. You move that bone, and it turn around and puncture your fucking pancreas. You done, nigga. You done. Or puncture your heart, your pericardium sac. Because all those organs are covered in a melanin type sac. And you puncture it. You got problems now for the rest of your life that you never had. That's why you got to fix that shit right away. He said, yep. He said, not necessarily. It can be fractured, but not apart. Fractured, yeah, but that's not what they said, Patrick. Fractured meaning it's still together, but it splits. It's little holes in the middle. Like, if you want to think of it like that, not holes, they're squiggly lines, but there's little gaps in the middle. It's not all the way 100% fully together, but it ain't broke. They didn't say that. They said broke. Let's go by what they said. They said broke. You know, my daughter got fractured bones in her foot, or had it. And guess what? I ain't do no surgery. We ain't do nothing. She knew she had fractured foot. She just was being careful, because if your bones are still connected, guess what? Your body will heal that on its own, because it's still good. It's still connected. Them nutrients getting in there. That healing process is going to take place. I forgot what they call it, but I always imagine it like a dump truck, because like it's kind of like when you're growing, when a baby is born, the bones are not hardened, but over time, I think it's epithelium or something, like the bones, they get harder and harder and harder through phases. And what happens is your body breaks down the bones and rebuild them up. Breaks them down, rebuild them up. That palate where you had the soft spot over top of your head, that doesn't fully heal and become thick as hell until you're 26 years old. Okay? I'm not talking about fractures. They said broke. He said, like a hairline fracture, that doesn't require surgery. Just, you won't answer my question, I see. Actives, you are literally avoiding my question. Nobody said fracture. You're bringing up fracture. That's what they said. Don't try to be nice and play the middle. They said broke. He said, if it was broken or fractured, he still went on vacation. Exactly. He flew to Spain. You can't. Not with that kind of injury. You can't get on the airplane. Why you think they don't let pregnant women after so many months get on an airplane? After, like, I think it's 7 months or something like that. You know why? Because your baby is so much bigger. It's like 3 pounds up in there. Your baby is pushing into ribs. Your baby is grabbing ribs around that time. They putting their feet on the ribs. We be plucking them off. I mean, you are close to a lot of major organs, and anything can happen. But a lot of people probably don't know. When women get pregnant, they release all different types of hormones. And believe it or not, I forgot what the name of this hormone is, but it's a hormone that makes your bones and stuff be flexible, like bendable. It only comes out when you're pregnant. Once you're not pregnant no more, it go back to regular. But, that's like, imagine a man trying to grow a baby in a rigid, hard set bone. It ain't gonna happen. A baby will bust through all that shit. That's why our bones and all that become flexible and bendable, so we can grow these children. But they don't let you on the plane after so many months. And I dare say, if you're a person who carry big, even from the beginning, that will matter too. That can factor in why they wouldn't let you on the plane either. He said, well, active said, well, broken don't always require surgery. Just reset and heal. I'm saying they don't make it rib cast. Okay, but how you reset it? How you reset a broke rib? Well, now that means it's still kind of attached. Like I said, we got to be careful of the words we choose. They said broke. They didn't say it's somewhat broke. It's halfway broke. It's broken a little part and it's still attached to somewhere else. You trying real hard, activists, to avoid it. I'm saying, if you broke where there was one, there's now 2. How do you reach in there and reset that rib? Because it's all about resetting the bone when a bone breaks. We just was talking about different types of breaks, but a clean break or a jagged break, that means it was once one thing, and now it's two pieces. How do you reset that if that's broken off? It can't hit. It's gonna swim up to the other piece and just attach itself and just sit there for itself. That's why I say it requires surgery. By how they say it, they don't even think about what they say and how they say. If you're gonna use the excuse a broken rib, be more specific, because that requires it. And secondly, if you have problems with your ribs, you're gonna have problems with your lungs. So tell me again how a doctor would sanction that. And then active activists tell me this: what bones reset and heal in 4 weeks? I'll wait. He said, and he was popping bottles. He was popping bottles. Yeah, how was he running up that hill a couple of weeks before with broken ribs? He said, if you saying he lying, say that. I said that in the beginning, that I'm not gonna buy the rib injury unless he comes out with paperwork to show it. Everybody else had to. When he had the eye injury, didn't he come out with paperwork? Tell me if I'm lying. Tell me if I'm lying. When he had the eye injury and they pulled him out the Pacquiao fight, did he not come out with paperwork? He said, but if he ain't reported, who was going to stop him from flying? Patrick, he said, I think you be missing the point. Like, you, you my boy, but I'm going to tell you, you get tore up in court. If the dude comes out and say, I broke my ribs, first of all, you can't give that credence. You can't give it credence unless you can prove it. He is not a doctor. But of course, we feel our own body. I'm sure we smart enough to feel and know if we broke something. But think about the military. You can't say I broke my rib and come to work without a chit, right? Right? They ain't trying to embarrass you. They just saying, give me some proof of how you broke this rib. Go ahead. You got the floor. You got the floor. Unmute
Hey,
yourself.
you know what? You exactly right. I agree 100%. He can say what he want. At the end of the day, hey, if it ain't in black and white, it ain't right. So, barring some kind of pictures or some medical documentation, you're right. It could be 100% bullshit. It could be 100% bullshit. So, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I guess the point I'm making about the do you need a surgery, I'm just saying, like, we know, me and you, we are in the above average intelligence squad, right? So we can look at stuff and we might take it literally, or we may take it as exactly what they said. But most people, when they saying broken, they gonna use that for big breaks, little breaks, fractures, etc. People don't get that specific when they talking about it. Now, as a boxer, as a professional in a combat sport, that's irresponsible. You don't get to have that kind of layman's leeway of, oh, I'm gonna just say my ribs was broke. Cause you're right. Like, I could give the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, it probably wasn't a clean break. Something happens. I had a hairline fracture in my hand. I didn't say my hand was broke, but if I told that story to somebody else, they might say, oh yeah, that nigga broke his hand. He got ran over by a taxi and he broke his hand. Like, I had a hairline fracture. So technically, do that fall in the quote unquote break category? Sure. It's in the lower end of the severity of the breaks. But okay, for somebody who, ain't gonna be that literal, sure. All right, nigga broke his hand. So that's
Hey,
all I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
you know
But you're
how I
right.
get
If he
down.
till he show the paperwork, I'm with you on that 100%. Like, if your ribs was broke and you didn't want to tell nobody, and you wanted to get the fight and all this and that. Okay, that's your fault. But then it's like if you didn't get no evidence or no kind of documentation, then that's something that's between you and God. Hey, you got to
Right.
take that to the grave with
You should have
you.
you
You can
said
say it, but we don't have to
no.
believe you because where's
Well,
the evidence?
he said out his mouth, if I had an excuse, I wouldn't tell y'all. Well, you done just came out with a couple of excuses. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
he did.
look,
You're right.
that don't
You right.
mean if I had an excuse, I ain't gonna tell y'all for 6 months. He said I ain't gonna tell y'all. So you ain't tell us about your cataracts when you fought Danny. You ain't tell us about your cataracts when you fought Ugas and you had cataracts then. You ain't say it,
Yeah.
and how convenient for you to say it to a fighter that you lost because you didn't lose to them, so there was no need to say it. And then when I'm talking about
But
the broke,
exactly.
when I'm talking
Yeah.
about the broke, nigga, I got all kinds of ailments. You done been around me, and you know I, I might not look sick, but you know how sick I am. But what do I always say, man? It hurt. It hurt.
Man.
I don't know what this is until they tell me what it is. Cause you know when I go in, at first I'll be like, man, I don't know what the problem is, but this is the conclusion. This will be happening. And then it'd be weeks later, I'll be like, Patrick, this is what I found out. Oh my God. I got this, I got autoimmune disorder. And then they found out that, I always find out after the fact, right? But in the beginning, I can't call it. I be like, this all I know is what's going on with me. I broke my thyroid gland for all that matter. I sure broke it. They took that motherfucker. It had cancer, y'all, but it was broke. It was broke thick. It won't work in or nothing. They took it. But you think the Navy didn't even give a fuck that I ain't had no thyroid gland like the rest of y'all because they was trying to hold my feet to the fire like everybody else. And I had a chick. That wasn't hyperbole. That was factual, actual in the medical record. I don't have that organ anymore and haven't for 25 years now. So, I mean, that's how I look at it. And that's just to me common sense. Think about how a rib cage is set. When you break your arm, Patrick, what they do? They reset, line the bones back up. Kind of, they can do this without going inside your skin, and then they put a cast on you, right? How many people you
Yep.
know that had a cast when the doctor was resetting the bone, but they reset it wrong and then put a cast around it and then it healed wrong? How many people have you heard that happened to?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I done heard that a few times.
The rib is not a straight bone; it's a curvature. So when you tell me something is broke, you have to specify what kind of break. Because if I'm an Earl fan and I've been looking for excuses all along, I'm like, there it is right there. And then they come out with a picture where you see this thing sticking out, but he all sweaty and all he got his hands raised up. That tell me Terrence Crawford broke his ribs. That would tell me, and his ribs probably was vulnerable anyway. They probably was bruised the fuck up, hurt, or on the verge of being broke or fractured, as you say. Could have been before the fight. But that bulging piece, that won't bulging when they had the fight. All y'all got to do is go back and look at the highlights of their fights, and they show the beginning part of the fight when they introducing them in the corner and then Earl don't got his shirt on. Find that bulge. You won't find it. The pictures that they got of Earl raising his hand with the bulge, he's all sweaty. He's all sweaty, and he looked like he been in a fight. That's after the fight. So who's to say that Terrence didn't break them ribs? That's what I say. But if he wants me to believe that a rib that has a curvature that's broke, that means where there was one, there's now two. And they somehow put it back together. How? Or you just didn't get no surgery or no treatment or nothing. And that was widely known. You right. He could fake it. He could have had a bruised ass rib. Just kind of like with Ryan Garcia. Remember that? And Joe Gibbs
Yeah.
said on the side, he said, it was your ribs, huh? Ryan could have
Hmm.
had bruised ribs. You know what I'm saying? Going into that fight, real bruise or a fracture. And Tank hit him, and he was like, oh shit, nah, nigga, this just got worse. I ain't getting back up. I don't know why you counting. I ain't getting back up. And Ryan bowed out. And think about any fight that you've seen where somebody got their ribs broke. Did they come back out the next round? No. People call it quits. And it's not a knock against Earl if that's what happened. But Harvey Doc had to save Earl from himself. And I can honestly look at that fight and say, yeah, the referee saved you from yourself because you wasn't gonna quit.
Nah, he showed the hell wasn't. He was gonna go all the way to the end of 12 if Bud let him.
He was gonna go all the way because it ain't in him. He that type of warrior, and commend him for that. But you was out of your woe because you were fighting a skillful fighter. So when people like with ATL or anybody else like Coleman, he's worse with that. At 154, it's gonna make a difference. No, unless you're telling me no other fighter could do this before, but Superman, I'm sure can. Superman, aka Errol Spence, can gather enough skills to overskill Terrence Crawford. The reason why he lost is because of Terrence Crawford's skills. If Terrence Crawford had bruised ribs going into there or hurt real bad where it was bothering him, then hey, maybe he couldn't be as skillful. But that didn't happen. He was in good shape enough to show his skills and dominate Errol Spence. That's why Earl lost. Like what's his name? Devin called Regis a one trick pony. That's kind of what Terrence was saying about Earl. You're a one trick pony, and I'm gonna show you I'm levels above you. But Earl fan will never admit that.
But this the thing. This the part about it, right? So talking about the skill thing, it's like, yeah, he may be a one trick pony, but a Earl fan will say, yeah, he's a one trick pony, but he wasn't even able to do that trick to the best of his ability during that fight.
Mm-hmm. So is Regis. Regis couldn't do what he do. Because when you got somebody that skillful in front of you, who understands the sweet science and know how to execute that shit, hit and don't get hit. Now, Earl caught Terrence a couple of times. And I dare say rocked him because I know Terrence felt it. That expression on his face told me he felt that shit. But he was undetermined. Both of them are dogs in there. They warriors. They ain't quitting. Harvey Doc mission was to save both of their ass from both of them. He had to. If it was the other way around, he would have had to step in and save Terrence from Terrence. Because neither one of them would quit. They are relentless. They would have kept going. If they'd have died in the ring, that was okay. They was ready to go.
Yeah, he knew that. He knew that when he took that fight. He was like, I'm gonna have to be ready for a stoppage tonight.
Exactly. Oh, I know what question I was asking. I asked that question that I re-asked, but I was asking you about domes. Have you ever had domes?
I mean,
I
you can
mean,
call it that. You can call
I'm
it
talking
that
about
like
bad
after.
domes. I'm talking about the high stake domes. I ain't talking about the little domes where you just a little sore. Because
I
I'm
mean,
going through
I've
that right
only
now.
I've only ever had it from working out. I've never
Right.
just had it just from, oh my God, I just woke up and now my muscles sore today.
No, I know that. But
Never had
domes
it
is not.
without some kind of intense workout.
Yeah, domes only come that way. It don't come from you. Oh, I woke up and I'm tired. I'm asking you now. You like I said, you a gym rat. So by now, even if you took time off and then came back to the gym, you will experience domes, but I don't think it would be as highly intensive as when you first started doing strength training and all that. That's something I noticed. I have never had domes on the level that I had it the first time. The first time I was about to lose my shit. But now I get it and I'm like, okay, I know what it is. Maybe because I really know what it is. And I be like, I get through it. And I know when I gotta take two 800 milligram Motrin. I know when I got to and when I don't. I try not to take any pills. But what I'm asking is when the domes is really, really bad, is that the time to ask Patrick to go on a race or play football or basketball
Hell no.
or
Hell
get in the
no.
ring?
No.
Exactly. And why is that?
Look, you get dons. I say it like this before, as you say it for the gym heads, the people that work out. What everybody say? Oh my God, I hate leg day. Leg day. Yeah, leg day, and I can give some expertise on why it happens from leg day because you go to the gym, you work out hard, and then what you do? You sit in your car for 20 or 30 minutes and you lock up. So you didn't let it. You didn't let it
Damn. We're gonna wait for him to come back. He was probably about to say the lactic acid and all that in between the bone
if you strip. No,
muscles.
you're not doing that because you're not gonna play no. I can't. If before I knew how to beat it, hell no. Shit, you can barely get in and out your bed after a good leg day, and you suffering through that. Your legs is burning and tingling. You can barely. I'm talking about even in the bed, laying down, just switching
Yeah.
positions in the bed
Yes.
is the hell no. No. After that Dones day, the most I'm gonna get because I'm chasing the pain. I'm gonna go back to the gym and I'm gonna work out, but I'm gonna take my time. It's gonna be a slow, less intense workout, but I'm gonna still go work out. But am I finna go play a full court game of football, basketball? No, hell no. I'm not
so
doing nothing that requires me to move fast when my legs are sore from Dones. No.
exactly, and that includes boxing, and you ain't getting in nobody ring trying to have no boxing match because you can't
Yeah, that's
focus
that's
on that
dead.
shit.
You got cinder blocks on your feet. That's dead.
So now imagine domes when you do the core workout because I just did it the other day for the first time in a long time, and let me tell you, I was sore as shit. I was like, oh my God. But I won't plan because I can't be fidgety in the bed and I can't have these exercises keeping me from going to sleep or waking me up out of sleep. So I took a pill. I took a Tylenol, a 500 milligram Tylenol, and then after about 30 minutes, I still felt it. I said, nah, let me back it up with another one. Then I was able to not feel it as much. But mm-mm. I had a core day. Have you
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
had domes
exactly.
in
The
your
core.
core?
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. That's another one. As you just said, laying in the bed, changing positions. That shit hurts. Like, no, it is not comfortable. Like, hey, that's a. I'm in the bed and I'm not moving. I try when it's a core dome, I try to lay on my back so at least my muscles
Yeah.
could be fully stretched out. And then, I just hey, I'm putting the massage gun all on my side, all on my ass, like everything
Not
is
the
about to get
massage
this
gun.
hey, the massage gun is about to get this work. But see, I found the magic trick that I found. Hey, the foam roller. Think that's the best invention that was ever put in the gym. Cause I'm talking about I can hit any workout with maximum intensity. If I hit that foam roller for 10 minutes before I leave the gym, I'm gonna take me a shower when I get home and I'm gonna wake up and I'm not gonna be sore. It may be a little bit of a tingle, but ain't nothing that's gonna slow my stride for that day.
and and you know what I do? I do stretching. Almost kind of like yoga exercises. Before I get into it, like tomorrow is my shoulders and bicep day. Last week, boy, my arm locked the fuck up. Like it was like a bent arm, and I could not bring. I'm just now able to bring my arm all the way down. It's still a little tender, but not as much.
Hmm.
I could not
Hmm.
bring my arm all the way down because my arm locked up, and then it was shaking. I was like, "What the fuck have I done?" But that's that shoulder.
See, for me, when I do an arm day, like I'm getting ready to get back in the gym heavy. That's my resolution. I got to get my sexy back. So when I get in there and I bust out an arm day, the muscle don't hurt. I could do biceps and triceps whole workout, an hour, bust them out. My muscles don't hurt. It's the tendons and the ligaments where it be sore. So that's like you say, that's where that lockup come because you trying to go to stretch your arm back out, and oh god, you feel them tendons pulling and just pain and mm-mm. So my trick is I walk around like if I do a heavy tricep day, I walk around with like with some 45s or something for a little while before I leave the gym, so my arms could be good and stretched all the way back out. Because you let your
Mm-hmm.
arms lock up in that same thing, you get in the car, you're in the car for 20 minutes, And how where your hands
Mm-hmm.
at? On your lap, on the steering wheel. You in
Mm-hmm.
a locked position. So once you let
Or
that
you
locked
get
position
home
set up, yeah,
and
yeah,
lay
that's it.
down. When you get home, like
Hmm.
I did that day, I came straight home and lay down. Boy, I was out of commission for the rest of this week. I didn't. That's the first time it crept up in me. Like I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But y'all know I'm trying to get ready for this wedding. But I'm also just trying to get healthier. From like I have my bouts of illnesses. I think I know what everything is. I hope and pray to God that nothing else come. But I have autoimmune disorder, so I don't know what's next. Around the corner. But I do like to go in the gym and work out. And shout out to Shannon Harrison. If he ever listen, Shannon. Remember Shannon?
Yeah, I talk to
Yeah,
Shannon all the time.
do
Yeah, I
you?
follow Shannon on Instagram. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know y'all be talking and chopping it up. Tell him
yeah,
what up.
yeah.
But I would never forget him because he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot, especially when it comes to strength training. He helped me get rid of a lot of myths that women will have and all that. Like I don't want to be Credible Hulk. Some people got in their genetics, men and women, uh, that you just muscular by nature. You can build muscle easily, and I'm one of them people. But a lot of women think that if you go in there and lift weights, that you can get the male type of look that from lifting weights, and you cannot do that without the assistance of some kind of steroid or something. Am I lying? Active activist? Hello? You must have dropped out. But ladies, you cannot morph yourself into being built like a dude. There's no way.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh yeah, no, she telling the truth. Exactly. Like as a woman, lifting weights is I mean the same thing with a man. You're just gonna reach your natural genetic limit.
Mm-hmm.
Without all the supplements and the extra stuff, you're gonna be toned. But yeah, and like I say, unless you got the genes of a Serena, you gotta have that in you. But that ain't everybody. That's not the average woman. Like, don't just be walking around. Yeah, I got Serena genes. No, you do not. No.
Most black, and even Serena, even though they try to say she built like a man, she bigger, she built better than a lot of men, skinny men. But I still see a woman when I look at her because there's certain things that we're not gonna get again unless you have some kind of assistance, some kind of shit that you're taking to because God made you a woman. He made you a woman. You like he just said a range. You have a range of how far you can go with some shit, and and how low you can go with some shit, and
Hmm.
everything in between. But you cannot. I cannot go in there and get shoulders like the active activist. I can't do it. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck
that's
how
say yeah.
hard.
Serena can't hit the gym hard and get shoulders like me. Like exactly my shoulders when I'm in the gym, and I'm in the gym 2 3 times a week on a regular basis with just my regular stuff, my multivitamins, my protein shake, whatever. Yeah, Serena will have to get on super steroids to get the kind of shoulders that I can grow, the traps, the delts, all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, so Serena. So people say what they want, but like I ain't in the gym right now. I doubt Serena arm is bigger than mine right now. If her arm was the same size as mine right now, that would be impressive. But like, yeah, Serena got the lower body, the lower body super genetics, the thickness and the muscularity from the waist down is undeniable. And then, yeah, she's a strong woman that works out, and you can tell she works out. But she don't look like one of these, bodybuilders or these competitors, these female, weightlifters and stuff who that's their goal. Like her goal ain't to be big. Her goal is just to be athletic and perform well. Them women goal is to bulk up and try to be as built as
Exactly.
possible.
Hey, active actors, hold me down for like a minute. I gotta grab some. I gotta eat. My sugar dropping. So hold on. So
Okay.
yeah, hold me down for about a minute. Hold on.
All right. So yeah, y'all, ladies, active activists, personal trainer, was certified, but it has lapsed. But I'll get it back. But like, yeah, I had woman clients. I had lady clients. I've had older men and women clients. Like, You can touch weights. You can touch weights. Strength training is good. It's gonna keep you young. It's gonna keep you lean. It's gonna keep you healthy. You know, whether you're doing calisthenics, which is body weight exercises, push up, sit up, pull up, squats. And you know, that's the thing with a lot of women. Women women's lower body strength can match men's a lot of the time. Where y'all lack behind us normally is in y'all upper body strength. Like y'all grip strength ain't is like a third of men's on average. And then what I found out is a lot of women can't do a pull up. So stuff like that. So working out and doing upper body exercises and strength training is not gonna hurt you. It's just gonna help you be healthy. It's gonna keep your posture right. You know, you getting older, you still have your mobility and your strength. You ain't worried about falling and not being able to get up off the ground. You get in and out the bed when you want to, get up out your car, get up out the chair. So yeah, don't be afraid of lifting weights, y'all. You're not gonna look like a man because you lifting
Exactly.
weights. You will have some muscle tone. You will have a little bit of pop to you, but that ain't nothing that's gonna have you looking, like you trying to be out here on your sex change type stuff.
Look, Jason Williams said, he said, I love the people who feel like if they touch weights, they just gonna get super swole. If only it was that easy. And you know what,
Whoo.
Jason? I know, right? But you know what? One thing I do not like, and this is me as a woman critiquing. I ain't male bashing y'all, because active activists can talk about uh women. Matter of fact, we should do a show together, active activists, about maybe once a week or twice a week. We just talk about exercise and health and all that stuff. We should do it together because you have a lot of knowledge, and I respect your knowledge, and I know you respect mine. But Jason, what about them dudes who don't try to cut weight and just go in the gym and lift weights on top of their fat and then be thinking they doing something? I can't. Oh, that's that that is a man.
Hey, it's a lot of dudes out here that got some. They will have a killer 6 pack, 8 pack, 12 pack if they could get that damn layer of fat, that beer belly off the top of it. Oh, they got some abs like shit under all that. You just gotta. Hey, that's the whole point, getting them to show.
Mm-hmm. And then they don't even be cut up. They just big, but in the muscle shirt, they look huge and thick. And cause they ain't be flabby or nothing like hanging loose and all that. And they think they did something. Like, nah, nigga, cut that weight. Like us bitches gotta do, you gotta do it too, dude. Jason said, then you got the ones that do all cardio and get soft and soggy body. Weight training tightens all that up. Exactamundo. He said, facts, Missy. That's the flip side. I don't like it, y'all. Every time when I notice men like that, I'm immediately turned off. I'm like, sir, you can't do nothing for me. You can't even explain health to me because I don't know how you thought that because you a dude and dudes can be big, and women can't. We dropped active activists dropped off, so they be thinking that they could just go ahead on and put muscle on top of the fat. No, nigga, you gotta cut weight too. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of women, will be surprised at the women that you do admire and that you do think is all that and they have a nice body. You will be surprised how many of them lift weights. And it's called strength training. I don't know. Sometimes it could be the words, y'all. It could be the words that make a woman back off or some shit, or a man back off shit. I don't know. Mostly women. It'll be the words. A lot of people say that women don't do a lot of workout because they worry about their hair. That's true. I've lived that life. Yeah, I remember that. Like I ain't sweating out my perm. Like it matters. You know what I'm saying? But you get to a certain age, like now, my hair is natural. And I've had to chop it down just to get that perm. I haven't had a perm in over 2.5 years and don't plan on getting it. But the damage is done because perms make people have fibroid tumors. They have traced that shit. So the damage is done because I had fibroid tumors along with a whole lot of other women. Seem like it's a common thing in black women, but white women get it too. It's them perms. Cause that shit seep through your skin no matter what you think. Your skin don't block everything like how you think. Ain't no bulging big ass uh, uh, um you know article gonna seep through the pores of your skin, but shit like a perm, toxic chemicals will, you know. And believe it or not, the chemicals they use to treat water is toxic. That's why a lot of women, I wash my hair every week, you know, but that chlorine and bromine and what's that thing they put in toothpaste? Fluoride. All that shit in the water, that shit is toxic. And you don't know what toxic do to me is different than what it do to you. You know what I'm saying? Jason Williams said, just like life, it's all about balance. That exactly. So that's why in the end, like me and active actors, we gonna get a show together. We talk about fitness and all that. And we ask y'all to join in. I don't know when we're gonna do it because me and him love to talk about it, and we learn so much for you. You know, I have a program that I devised to help myself. Now, for honesty, I started that program trying to help myself because I wasn't told that my debilitations, I didn't even know until I was in my mid-30s what I had. And sometimes people can be out there sick and you look at them and you can't tell that they sick, but they be all kinds of hell breaking loose inside their body. So I had to learn, but I have always been a physical person. That's how I say it. You know, call it tomboy, call it whatever. I've always been a physical person. I'd rather be physical and play games. You know, I used to walk on my hands forever. And then when I started growing my girls, all that shit went out the window. I could walk on my hands till I started growing my girls. So, you know, adolescent to about puberty, a sister can walk on her hands good too for a long time. Beat most of the guys doing it. I could ride on one wheel. I could do that very well. Whether it's a 12 speed, 10 speed, a BMX, whatever, I could ride on one wheel. I could play football, but again, I got to about, I want to say 11, maybe 10, 11. And I was like, oh, no, that ain't for me. Because even if you ain't got your girls, you got your nipples. You know, that, nah, ain't going to be no tackling, nothing. So then I started playing basketball, and I picked it up good. If I played softball, which I didn't play a lot, but when I did play, I was good. So I've always been a physical person. I've always been a muscular person too. Like, you know, my genes, you know, made it easy and possible to gain muscle. I would have muscles and didn't even work to get them. Even getting out of shape, you know, I never was flabby. You know what I'm saying? I was just big. But I'm all about being in shape and exercising and all that. And the only thing that would stop me is being sick. And the worst thing about being sick is if you sick and you don't know why. So it's hard to plan your life around something and trying to do something when you don't know why. If you knew why and you say, okay, I'm gonna go about fixing it, and you fix it, that's one thing. But if you sick and you don't know how to fix it, you don't know what you need to do to fix it. You know what I'm saying? So um that's what I've had to learn over the years. That's what I was struggling with. And I've learned a lot of stuff. And like I said, I tried to be an ultrasound tech because I was trying to do something different than what I did in the Navy. I didn't work in medical, but because I had medical issues, I was trying to fix my medical issues. So I was trying to parlay into the medical field, get some kind of credential where I could do a job that I could like, you know, and still be learning like how the body is functioning, how it's structured and how it functions. And that's why I took classes like anatomy. And I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot that I didn't know before. And now I'm a proponent of somewhere in middle or high school, they'll say they got that covered by having health class. But when I took health in high school and in middle school, I don't remember learning anything that kind of similar or on the level of anatomy classes. Because coming out of high school up until the point that I had cancer in my thyroid gland, I didn't even know exactly what a thyroid did. I always associated with metabolism. And you hear people say I got a thyroid problem, that's why I can gain weight. You just heard that shit. But you don't know beyond that how the shit is structured and how it works. Your thyroid gland does a lot more than just metabolism. And be a person that suffer with some kind of thyroid disease like Crohn's, lupus, and hypothyroid. Is a whole lot of them. And you will understand real quick how much more your thyroid gland does, and the process in which the metabolism is produced in your body and then disseminated and then absorbed, because it has to be produced, disseminated, and absorbed. And there could be a breakdown in one of those steps, and if it is, you're gonna have problems. Jason said, where do you feel you got most of your athletic genetics from, mom or dad? That's a tough one. Both, in a sense. In a sense, I'm going to give them both. But the build, my shape, maybe come from dad's side. But like both. Like my mom, she could walk and run. Boy, she walked fast and she could run. And she used to play tennis and they could do it all the time. But she was more of a thin person. My mom, I ain't gonna say thin. I mean, she was toned. She was on the short side. Her mother is very short, and her mother was like 4'11". So my mom wasn't that much of a tall woman. I'm taller than my mom, very much so. And my mom was small, and she was bow legged, and she really wasn't top heavy, not at all, by the least. I mean, nowhere near being top heavy. And she didn't have a big badonka, but she had bow legs. She made up for it in her bow legs, I guess. But and then she has two daughters. One got a badunka out this world. Like my sister's figure with that butt, Lord, she made girls be like, Lord have mercy. And then I'm top heavy. And my mom was like, where the fuck y'all get this from? Because I don't have either. So for my dad, I mean, um, when I say I'm physical, I never mind being physical, like playing games or sweating. I thought that was normal. In my day, that wasn't what girls supposed to be ascribing to do. But for me, I thought it was normal. Why would God give me sweat glands if He didn't want me to sweat? Why would He give me agility and reflexes and make me muscular if He didn't want me to be physical? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm gonna give credit to both of them, but my mom, she could run or whatever, and I don't run. She's more of a runner. Like my daughter's more of a runner and walk fast. I never was. When I remember being a kid, walking with my mom, we like, Mom, please. He's like she'll have to stop and take breaks because we be like, that's like, Lord have mercy, because she can cover ground because she walk fast. It's like her walk fast could be my job. I'm not lying. That shit crazy. Her walking fast could be my little job. But as far as muscles, somewhere in the family, like I said, it could be her side or his side. Somewhere in the family, I just I'm much more taller than the girls that on my mama's side. I was an Amazon, and you know that you have thousands and thousands and thousands of genes to pull and pull from, and ain't no telling how you put. Like my daughter, I'm 5'10". My daughter is 5'1". So you see what I'm saying? There's no reason in my head that my daughter should be that short. None. Me and her father was about the same height. There's no reason why she. I think I might have had him by an inch, but we was about the same height. There's no reason why she should be that short, but she is. But see, me knowing that my mother's mother was 4'11", and probably got shorter as she got older, it was in my genes. You know what I'm saying? It was just in my genes. My daughter got curly hair. I used to always think she got it from her father, but it could be me because now I'm natural. My hair do the same thing as hers. My hair's come in soft, but when it meet up with the rest, it get tattered or whatever. But my daughter definitely has a different grain of hair, so I'm gonna give that to her father. But I'm just saying, because he's Mexican and black, but I'm gonna give that to him. But the wiry, curliness, that was me. I wouldn't have known because I kept throwing all the chemicals in there. You know what I'm saying? You never know where you get your genes and all the stuff you inherit or whatever. But definitely, I'm into finding the health in you. I create menus and things that people can eat to make them healthier. Like if people come to me, I've had people come to me and say, I want to lose weight. Um, a lot got to do with what you look like. Do you look like the person that can speak on it? You know what I'm saying? As I told y'all, I'm not huge, but I'm big. I'm bigger than most women. So I'm 5'10". I'm just Amazon. I'm just towering over people. Big, big breasts, all that stuff. So, when people think about females giving, health advice or whatever, they be thinking of these little teeny, little small ladies and all that. But anybody who know what they talking about can give it, even if they're not following it. And trust me, I understood or I learned that a healthy body is a fit body. And I'm all for it because I know what it feel like to have all your organs, to have them all, and everything be working and you just regular. And I know how it feels for when it's not working, when certain organs ain't working, and when you get sick and then they take your organ. I know how that feels. I'm a person with 5 less organs than what I was born with. And I still got my appendix. So that you do the math. But I know how important those organs were and what they were for my health and my fitness overall. And all the organs that was taken from me got something to do with my fitness. It plays a big part in being fit and all that. So I know how debilitating that is. So I had to learn a different way of being fit, or what I call fit. Because every woman wants to look sleek and, thin or just, nice and whatever. And I had to figure out a way, how do I get that when I don't have the organs that they got? And so I learned a lot of stuff. And me and Active Activist, boy, we learned a lot of stuff together. Just going on the journey for me, because he was around me all the time. And he learned some stuff trying to help me, but trying to help himself too. So, yes, genetics play a part in what you would look like. He said genetics are fascinating to me now. I wish I would have been more cognitive when I had my kids. Yeah, genetics, genetics can play a part in damn near everything you do. It even play a part subconsciously in the type of people you pick for yourself. Like I can tell you right now, and this is a funny little joke that we always say. I don't know no woman who do this differently, but hold on. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm drinking my tea. So most women, when they lay down with a man, I say most, if they really thinking about it, women subconsciously, by the way we are designed, have to pick somebody who's going to give us children that are going to make it. Even though we don't live in hunter and gathering days and we're intelligent beings and we got houses and we got all these niceties and all that, still in our subconscious mind, because human beings are animals, that's the type of animal we are humans. Every animal, every female animal picks a winner. Somebody that their offspring are going to be a winner. They're going to make it in their eyes. And you tend to pick the same as you. So, for instance, outside of me being top heavy, I'm very well proportioned. I have a long torso from shoulder to waist. Long torso. This is why I could probably carry some weight. I have thick thighs, but not crazy thick. Not like unusually thick, but normal thick in proportion to my waist. My legs match, like everything match. I'm very, very much proportion. And I thank God for that, because at least he gave me that. Why I say that? Because you can see people out there that have shorter arms, and you looking at them, their arms should be longer. You got T-Rex syndrome. And then you got people with way too long arms. They kind of got the primate syndrome, like their arms way too long. And their arms got to be a certain, it's supposed to be a certain length to be proportioned all the way around. So you'll pick somebody that mimics you in a sense, or mirrors you. And as a female, I'm gonna pick a guy that has the same proportion build up or similar, where I'm thinking, oh, you proportion too. Like, you don't know, you be picking the same thing that you like or that you are. So whenever I lay down with a guy in my lifetime, not that I was trying to make a baby or nothing, but I only laid down with guys that if something would have happened and there was a oops situation and I got pregnant, I wouldn't be going through no rigmarole. Like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Oh, going through all that. I only lay down with people that I didn't mind being pregnant by, if that makes sense. That probably went over some people's head. It don't mean that you're trying to make a baby. It means if I were to have a baby, I'll have a baby by you, or you, or you, and subconsciously you're picking somebody who can give you offsprings that's going to make it. And I would imagine subconsciously men do too, to a certain extent. But y'all have the ability to populate a whole city. So it probably don't matter as much with y'all, because y'all can go from woman to woman and start over again and populate y'all can populate a whole city. We cannot do that. We're going to get 2 to 3 at best in these days. Back in the day, women could pump out 10, 8, 9, whatever. But in these days, women are popping out 2 to 3 at the most. Most people have 1. He said, Jason said 5 organs. Man, blessing to you. I pray the Most High keeps you in good health and good spirits. I hope so too. PGH Big Dog is in the building. What's poppin', King? Says salute, Queen T. So yeah, I've helped some of y'all on here that used to be my regulars. One of them don't come no more, but I have to. And I still won't betray what he said. I said, you know what? Email me your issues. And I said, even if you're trying to lose weight, that can be on the agenda. But I will never try to help nobody with the sole purpose of just losing weight, because I know this for a fact. And active activists know this too, that a healthy body is a fit body. Point blank, period. And because I did shit like study foods and what they could do, I took medicines and be like, how you figure out that this medicine can do X, Y, Z? Oh, because you saw it done by food. So if there's a pill out there that does X, Y, Z to your body, I look up what foods do the same thing. And I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, it always come back to anything grown out the ground. Always come back to that. It ain't animals, because we're not supposed to eat animals. But some people say, well, how you get muscular and big? Because some guys like to get beefy and big and cut up. But some of your largest mammals are herbivores. Elephants, giraffes, even hippos. Now, hippos Them some mean spirited fucking animals. They'll attack your ass even if you ain't bothering them, just for GP. But they are herbivores. They don't attack you and chew you up and eat you. They just like to kill folks. They serial killers. They always try to make them seem like they nice, man. They serial killers. Man, they eat up everybody. They be fucking everybody up. They don't literally eat nothing, no animal, but they kill and they fuck a crocodile up. Let a lion tread that water. Let an elephant. They don't give a fuck who you is. They fucking you up. But they herbivores and they big like that. Giraffes, you can be on the Serengeti, 2 miles away from a giraffe. They know you there. Them animals know when you 2 and 3 miles out. They don't come for you. You interest them in no kind of way. But yet they're the biggest and the massive. Tim Bradley, let's keep it boxing. Tim Bradley told y'all he was a vegan. And y'all didn't believe him. And he is. He was. I don't know what he's doing now, but he was in boxing. And look how massive and cut the fuck up he was. And he was able to do 12 rounds. Vegan it out. Jason said, I picked the mother of my children based on her top heaviness and nice demeanor. Oh, hey, Jason. Hey, Jason. Hey. He said, gorillas are herbivores, right? Yeah, they are. Somebody told me that they can eat meat and they like us. They're very close related to us. I think we are separated by one. It's not the word gene. Shit. Is it gene? We separated by one chromosome. That's what it is. We're separated by one chromosome. But just like us, you can get a primate to eat meat and other things, but unless you're trying to kill them, they know better. They will prefer everything out the ground before they ever eat a meat. They have no interest, but yet they got 4 sharp canines. They got a couple of canines in their mouth where they can shred you to pieces, but they have to have something to be able to fight. And you be like, what good is the gorilla? Well, they eat trees and shit. They eat grass and they graze up high. So do giraffes and other animals graze down low. But they graze nonetheless. And that's all they prefer to eat. You know what I'm saying? They eat fruit. They love fruit. They drink nothing but water. If you notice, most animals, you go to your domestic cat and dog. Hold on, that's my daughter. Hold on 1 second, y'all. That's my daughter checking on me. I ain't gonna be long. Let me give her this answer. Hold on. Yeah, they they graze and everything, and I think it's what they poop out, and because sometimes poop is very necessary for soil, and the stuff that grow on the mountains and mountain regions where they from and shit. Like all animals have a purpose in the ecosystem or whatever. But yeah, um, there's only a few apex predators, and you know them. When every teeth look like a knife, that's an apex predator. Dogs, cats, stuff like that. Those are apex predators. And most of the other animals are not. They're herbivores, and humans are herbivores. But I know we're resilient enough to eat something different or whatever. But the whole point is, me and active actors might do a show where we just talk about all this stuff because I love it. I know some of you out there that love it. Right now, it's not a New Year's resolution; it's a lifetime resolution. Because I don't feel sick. I feel very healthy. I feel good. So I'm in the gym now. I get up every day. I go to the gym and I do strength training. One of the most beautiful women that was considered the beautiful women in the world at one point, Miss Marilyn Monroe. Believe it or not, she used to do strength training. She used to lift weights. She sure did. A lot of people don't believe it, but she sure did. And people who knew her back then could attest for it. She used to lift weights. Two books she read where she morphed herself based on what she read in these books. It was a book. I wish I knew the name of it, but it was a popular book back in the day that taught women how to be women, how to be dainty, how to be feminine, and how to, get what you want, how to do's and all this. I forgot what it was, but she read that bitch and photocopied that shit in her mind and became that person. Then you have, I don't know if it was a Jacqueline Lane book or whatever, but she learned about lifting weights and what it do for you for real, for real. So while all her counterparts, the Rita Hayworths of the world, the Betty Davis of the world, and all them other ladies, they won't doing that shit. Marilyn Monroe was lifting weights. And you better know Jane Mansfield had to do it too. I think that's her name, Jane Mansfield. She was the other bombshell, the other one. The girl who played in Law and Order SVU, her biological mother. Her mother, I say biological, her mother died when she was young. But her name, Mariska Hargitay, her daddy was a bodybuilder. And he was with her mama. Her mama was a bombshell that was curvy and thick and built. Yeah, she probably lift weights too. So it's a myth that a lot of women just, they would back off for not lifting weights because they just think it's gonna do something that they don't want to see. But actually, I think men will love it. Now, any man that knock you for being muscled out or deformed like an Angela Bassett, if you think that that's not cute, that's gonna be few men, and those type of men are intimidated and they can't even compete with men who are their peers. So they fall low on the totem pole against people of their own peers. That's why they can't take you being muscular because they can't get it. That would be like an insult on jealousy and envy because they know in hell they can do it. Sometimes it take a long time to muscle up and everything, but if you know what you're doing in strength training, you'll know. And if you strength train right, you should do it to failure. Took me a long time to understand what I understood what it was, but I didn't understand what it was in application. And that's why I say shout outs to Shannon Harrison. You taught me a lot. I know what failure is now. So when I strength train, I do several sets. And by the third set, like I'm just starting, so I'm doing 3 sets. By the third set, I'm at failure. But as I get better, I add more sets. I think the highest I've ever was is 5 sets. But it's how you add your intensity. When you get to that point where your arm is shaking or you shaking trying to lift that last weight up and all that stuff, that's when you pump out 1 or 2 more and you will shred your fucking muscle. And yeah, like we said about domes don't kick in until your muscle is healing itself. That's the pain. The pain of shredding it, no, there's no pain. But when it heals, yes. But it's 3 hours and 14 minutes. I ain't mean to be on that long. But y'all see this symbol, this picture with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford? That's a T-shirt that y'all can find my in my store, and I'm gonna put it down again. Ask me T. I've won.com. Go to that store and pick out your T-shirts and copy one. But I just made this T-shirt to commemorate their possible rematch, and I was respectful of both men. So y'all be out there, be careful on making excuses for Errol Spence. If he did not, I'm sorry for making him second his candy. If he did not say nothing when he fought Danny Garcia or Ugas about some cataract, don't let him say it now. And no doctor with their right mind would let a person go into a fight that has broken ribs. Just remember that. So, Jason said, it was a pleasure, Miss T. Check on your people and stay blessed. I will, Jason. Thank y'all for coming in. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. If we got something to talk about, remember, if there's nothing to talk about, I ain't going to blow smoke up y'all. But for me and activists, we're going to talk some more. I'm getting choked up. We're going to talk some more about getting a show where we talk about health. Or maybe just talk about one muscle at a time or whatever, just to talk about certain things while we both going on our journey and trying to stay fit and healthy. Lord, I'm sneezing and coughing. I apologize to y'all, but that's it for today. And I'll see y'all tomorrow and in the future. Remember, drink your water.